Welcome, everybody. Give me one just second, just to take a look around, see all your beautiful faces as more people are still popping in here. And let's just drop right in and take a moment to set the tone before we jump into this opportunity for some Q&A. So I just invite everybody as you're coming in to drop in. And just taking a nice deep breath into the back of the heart and letting go of everything that has transpired up to this moment. Just feeling yourself dropping down into your body, into your breath, into the now. And breathing into the front of the heart and exhaling any concern for the future. Just letting it all go and dropping even more further into your body, into your heart, into your breath, into now. And another breath into the front and the back of the heart. As you let go of even what we call the present moment, which consists of present conditions, present story. Letting it all go. Understanding that the past is just a memory, the future is a fantasy, and what we call the present is mostly imagination. It is memory plus fantasy. Excuse me. It's a story of what has happened, what is happening, and what we think will happen. It's a story, beginning, middle, and end. And it creates the simulation of our mind, the matrix. But none of it is actually reality. We are not experiencing reality directly. We are experiencing our story about reality, which is made up of our beliefs, our concepts, which is made up of experiences, challenges, obstacles, traumas. All of this creates a story, and we experience our story. It is done unto you as you believe. This is the master principle of experience. And so just for a moment, we just let it all go. This is one journey you want to go on where you lose a lot of your baggage and you're happy about it. Just let it all go for the moment. Just to touch that frequency of everything is all right. Just for a moment. To stop seeking the fountain of youth and to drink from the fountain of you, the fountain of truth within you, the well of your being. As you drink and drink from the well of your being, you are full of well-being. And in this next breath, just surrender to your intention for being here. What is it that you want to achieve? What is your vision of awakened wealth, of abundance? And just take another moment to come back to your body and to post in the chat your intention, your vision, your goal around wealth and abundance and true success. Go ahead and post that breakthrough in the business, to see the abundance that I am in everything I do, to create a world in which people see themselves as the source of abundance. Yes. To have more money than I need so I can help others, animals, and people. To feel what I naturally produce is good enough. To be happy creating what I like to create and to know what that is. Yes. Good ones. And as you're posting it, really feel that you're claiming it and understand that you are not trying to get it, but you are opening yourself and opening out a way to let it. As the poet Robert Browning said, truth is not something outside of us that we need to get, but we must find a way to open out a way from whence the imprisoned splendor may escape. And this is what all the great teachers, poets, philosophers have touched. Whether it's Jesus or Buddha or Lao Tzu or Shakespeare or the great poets like Browning, they've all described, what's his name? Not Thoreau, I'm drawing a blank now. Whitman, Walt Whitman, Leaves of Grass, these great individuals that have been mystics, whether they were nature mystics or mystics in the desert or the jungles or the caves, they were individuals that realized, that touched the real I that I am. They touched this realization, the great realization, the good news, the gospel, the God spell, which wakes us up from the human spell of separation, lack, limitation, worry, doubt, and fear. The human spell tells us we're separate, we're lacking, we're not enough, we're empty shells that have to get filled up, that we are missing something, and that we have to go get it and somebody else has it or it's somewhere else. Or if we have something, we got to hold on to it and we got to be willing to fight and kill and even die for it. This is the human spell. The human spell tells us that the things we really need to survive and to thrive and to be all that we were made to be are outside of us. They are things, they are material, they are matter. Instead of understanding that matter is a manifestation of what we make matter. Did you hear that? What we make matter manifests as matter. Thoughts and things are not separate. The world of materiality is our mind in solidity, and our mind is matter in liquidity. It's one spectrum. So what we make matter, what we focus on, what we value, and what we believe becomes the material of our life. We do not experience reality, we experience our belief about it, our story about it, our concepts. And so if our concept of wealth is material, we're going to be forever searching and striving after symbols. As we've been going through this journey and talking about, wealth is not dollar bills or crypto or euro or yen or whatever, or yuan. It is not the stuff. That any more than the fruit of a fruit tree is the wealth of the tree. If it was the wealth of the tree, when all the fruit is given away or sold or gone, the tree would be broke and there would be no purpose for the tree. And so the farmer would just cut it down or burn it. But that's not at all what happens in nature, right? The tree is the instrument through which something invisible happens. that transmutes the raw material of life itself, the prana, the sunlight, and turns it into sap that becomes the blossom and the flower and the fruit. And the tree can give away the fruits and the flowers and the seeds and the nuts and all of the perfume of the flowers forever. And it never has less. In fact, if it doesn't give it away, it will stagnate, it will rot, and it will fail to thrive. So the wealth of the tree is that invisible process and substance that becomes the fruit. And so what we've been talking about on this journey is the real nature of wealth, which again is not a new idea. It's been taught through the mystery schools and the ancient teachings, and all of the great masters have talked about it. When Jesus said, "Take no thought for your life, what you shall eat or drink, or wherewithal you shall be clothed, and neither for tomorrow," stop worrying about all these things. Stop chasing after all these, but seek first the kingdom of heaven within. That's not a religious statement, it's a statement of principle. Buddha taught the same thing, Lao Tzu taught the same thing around the Tao. All the great masters, Shankara, all of them, they were all saying, make contact with the source instead of depending on resource. The resource is the product of the source. And we've put all of our dependency on resources instead of becoming resourceful, meaning to reconnect with source again. And this is not woo-woo. I know it seems like it and it sounds like it and it even feels like it at first, because we're having to redevelop and reawaken to the soul senses. Again, this is what Jesus was teaching. This was not a religious teaching in the religiosity that we think about it. He was trying to teach people, you've been hypnotized, you are having eyes you cannot see, having ears you cannot hear. Judge not by appearances, but judge righteous judgment. When is heaven going to come? They asked. It's not going to come. It's not going to be seen through observation, over here or over there. He said, low here, low there, but it's the same words. He was saying, it's already here. It's already in the midst of you. It's already within you. You've been hypnotized by a material and personal concept of reality in believing that you're separate and that you're material and that you only have, and all that is real is what you can taste, touch, and measure. Enter in the enlightenment period in science and rationality, which is beautiful and great, but it hypnotized us into believing if you can't measure it, it doesn't exist. But in fact, the opposite is true. If you can't measure it, it's more likely to be real. What you can measure is not real. Now, that doesn't mean it's not important. You need to measure things. You need to put things into form. You need to be able to build bridges that don't fall down. But the substance of it all is immeasurable. The substance of it all, the substance of love, it's not limited to the person you're with. It's limited to how much of it you're willing to contact and to activate and to let out. You can have as much love as you are willing to generate. Do you understand? You can have as much creativity and inspiration as you are willing to generate. Whatever's missing is what you're not giving, what you're not generating. I don't just mean giving as in codependence. You got to include yourself as we went through the 7 gifts or the 7 wealth activators. You have to give out, you have to give up, you have to give in, you have to give thanks, you have to give to yourself, you have to forgive. These are all the forms of opening the channels of circulation so you can start circulating this inexhaustible substance within you. And that the law of circulation is the key. We do not struggle and stagnate and have lack because there is a lack. We struggle because we stop circulating, because we buy into the hypnotic belief that we are separate, that all that is real is material. We look at our bank account, our bodies, our business, our partners, our history, and we judge by all of these appearances to determine who am I, how worthy am I, how much do I have, what can I do and what can't I do, and then we operate with a tiny little thimble We go down to the ocean of potential with a little thimble. And then we're like starving in the desert with our little thimble, and we wonder why we're struggling because we've been hypnotized. And the people that have come along and healed and resurrected and transformed history, whether it's a Jesus or a Buddha or a Mandela, 27 years in prison didn't stop him. He became the president. He ended apartheid. Not after he got out. That was when the effect caught up. He became that in consciousness while he was being tortured in prison. Dr. King, I've been to the mountain, I've seen the promised land. He was not operating based on appearances because the appearances said, dude, you better get the hell out of here. They're going to string you up. This is crazy. But he wasn't operating on appearances. Mother Teresa walking into all kinds of disease infested places, but she didn't see people. She saw Jesus in drag. Everybody was just Jesus dressed up. She saw the love everywhere. And so she would get sick and then she'd be healed and then she would heal others. And she could walk into a business and get anything she needed, as much money as she wanted. The check wasn't big enough. She would just pray a little longer. She would just go, I think I need to pray some more. And the guys are like, dude, what do we do? Get a bigger check, man. Get a bigger check. Right? So where was all that coming from? From within them, from within the source from which all things, the great revelations of innovators and scientists, Einstein and the theory of relativity. He didn't get that out of a book or from a college. He tapped in not just to imagination, but what I call emergination, into the source of inexhaustible wisdom. The great artists, the great works of like a Shakespeare, they endure for centuries because he was tapping into something outside of his time. And he was able to bring forth the timeless. And that's true with the great innovators and the great leaders. One of the big misunderstandings people have about some of the most successful business tycoons, like a Steve Jobs or a Elon Musk. And this isn't a political statement. Believe me, I have my judgments about these people, but understanding the principles. These individuals were not going for their vision based on what existed. They were not going for their vision based on having the money or even going for it for the money. Elon Musk spent every penny he had, was sleeping on a friend's couch, even after he'd made millions, to try to do some crazy thing like creating rockets that could be reused and keep blasting off and beat NASA at its own game. Like insane, absolutely insane. And now it's the biggest rocket company in the world. Again, you don't have to agree with him politically, but understand the principle. He was not doing it based on what was possible or what was appearance, what was apparent. He was not looking at his bank account to determine what he could do. Him or an Oprah Winfrey or an Elon Musk or a Steve Jobs, these individuals had caught a vision and they were letting the energy flow where the vision wanted to go. They were investing up to their highest vision, not down to the level of appearances and comfort and convenience, safety and security. Are you with me? They invested in the vision. This is what all the great masters did too, right? Dr. King and Mandela and Gandhi and the suffragist movement for women and whatever, pick your version of where you admire people the most. Oh my God, I'm getting the technology is freaking out now. Too much energy. Give me one. You guys can still hear me, right? Even though the video's doing its weird thing. It hasn't done it this whole time, and today it chose to do it. But look at that. Look at that image of me. That's a great, great thumbnail. Let me just see if I can downplay the, no, I don't know. Can't do anything about it. Give me one sec, guys. Just gonna see if I can turn some things off. I don't think it'll matter. I've already tried that before, just in case I'm going to. Give me one sec. Okay, we'll see how it goes. You can always hear me if it freezes. So So that's the core principle of awakened wealth, and which is based on emergence, is that everything you need is within you. You brought it all with you. The world didn't give it to you, and the world can never take it away. No matter what your parents did or didn't do, no matter what the teachers did or didn't do, no matter what the religious institutions did or didn't do, no matter what the government did or doesn't do, whatever. One principle you must embrace is that it doesn't matter. Now, I'm not saying if you're inspired and guided as part of your purpose to change the systems and structures of the world that you shouldn't do that. But just know that the individuals that made the biggest changes in the world, in their families, in their relationships, in their business, in the community, and in culture and society and politics, the ones I mentioned, they are not the individuals that saw the problem only and then tried to fix it. They were the individuals that saw the problem, but then used that to tap into the truth, the wholeness. It is the consciousness of wholeness that heals. You are not on your way to a better day, to heaven or wholeness or abundance or success or love. You are coming from it. And so Dr. King could only do what Dr. King did because he had a dream first, because he saw the mountaintop, because he embodied and was coming from the mountaintop, not from the valley. All the people, Malcolm X was coming from the valley and causing a lot of problems until he had his awakening and then he understood better. So if you look through history, the greatest leaders, and you study like Oprah, you study these individuals, there was something they were filled up with first. And they were, again, everybody's flawed. I'm not putting anybody on a pedestal, but they were coming from something. They became the answer. They became the solution. As Gandhi said, we must become the change we want to see. And I know many of you want to make a big difference in the world. So for whatever reason, that's why I'm sharing this today. That's the biggest thing here is to get you fully funded and abundant, not just so you can have a bigger screen TV and a nicer house, but and pay your rent, although that's important because it's hard to be a light in the world when you can't pay your light bill. But really, what this is about is getting you fully funded and fully sourced so that you can live your purpose. Who here wants that? Put it in the chat. Who here wants to, once and for all, stop merely surviving and trying to get by and trying to make it, and instead be living from a place of creating and creating the dream and the vision and the impact that you want to make? Put that in the chat if that's you. So it all starts with remembering that you are sourced, that you have it already. And that's what we've been talking about. And then, of course, in the journey of awakened wealth, as I talk for the people that are going to go on this longer journey with me over the next 8 weeks or so, I'm going to show you step by step not only how to get reconnected to that source permanently, how to build the structures to open the channels so you can be circulating, abundantly no matter what. And again, this is not theoretical. I've got pages upon pages upon pages of testimonials of people that were bankrupt and then they had more business they could handle. People that made more in a month than they'd ever made in a year, more in a year they'd ever made in 10. And not only once, but continuously. People that launched their businesses, filled their practices, healed their bodies, healed their relationships over and over and over and over again, eliminated debt. But even more importantly, they began to feel confident and empowered and have agency again to live their life from this higher level, not from I need to get, but I'm opening out a way to let, not from I need to make it happen, but I'm going to make what is always happening welcome. It's an empowered place. It's not perfect. You're still going to have challenges. But when you hit those challenges, instead of contracting and adapting to the challenge, oh, who's got their whiteboard on here? Somebody just turned on their whiteboard. Instead of adapting and contracting to the challenge, you're going to learn and know how to expand in the face of contraction. Another of the key secrets, another of the awakened wealth truths versus the hypnotic wealth spells. We've been taught and hypnotized to contract. Oh, I don't have a lot of money in my bank. I better shrink. I don't have, the economy's not good. I better adapt. No, no, no. You have to expand. As you know my story, I won't go through it all, the tragedies and the losses and I've been through it all. My own little Job story, and it's because of understanding these principles and having built the habit, built the inner machinery of understanding these, not just theoretically, the habits which equal character, which determines your destiny, not conditions. I was able to meet these challenges and keep expanding. And so on the other side of each challenge, I become bigger or deeper in some way, and ultimately richer in many ways. Richer and have manifested all the money that was stolen from me, have manifested more love and more family, even when my family seemed to fall apart, and even the tragic loss of a child. Again, not easy, and I do not wish it upon any of you. Do not try this at home. But what I want you to understand is no matter what you've been through, no matter what you're facing, I'm telling you what I know for sure. You have within you the capacity to overcome everything and to regenerate all that seems to be lost. As it says in the Bible, all the years the locusts have eaten shall be restored unto you. I'm telling you what I know for sure and what I've helped thousands and thousands of people to know for themselves. Because it doesn't help just for me to know it. What I'm here to do in this journey over the next 8 weeks is help you to know it. And then most importantly, to build and design a way of life so that it becomes automatic, so that you know what you're made of and made for, so that you know what to do today and tomorrow, so that you have a clear vision and a clear path and a plan, because a vision without a plan is a fantasy. You have to anchor it. And it has to become a part of the way of life, not just something you get inspired about on a call, on a workshop. It must become your way of life, because otherwise, understand you've already designed a way of life. You've got it right now, right? The conversations you're in, where you're investing your daily currency, your time, talent, and treasure, your attention. You've already designed it, but most people design it by default. They design it from a map of reality and identity that is not true. It's based on the limitation, the separation, the lack. And so we have to redesign it based on what is more true about you, and just based on the principles of truth and the principles of abundance. People are like, how come all these bad people get so much money and success and all the good people are struggling? And I have to explain, it's not personal, it's principle. You could be a saint, but if you don't know how to fly a plane and you try to fly a plane, you're going to crash or never get off the ground. You could be a saint, but if you don't know how to electroconductivity principles and you try to wire your electricity, you're going to probably electrocute yourself or burn the house down. It's not personal, it's principle. And when you understand the principles and you know how to organize yourself inside and out to be in integrity with the principle, it works. It must work. Like I use the example, you plant it, you have a seed in your pocket, it's been there for years, and you find it one day, and you plant it in the soil and you cultivate the conditions according to that seed pattern. The law of emergence in the soil can't say, oh, I'm sorry, buddy, but you come from a long line of seeds that never really amounted to much. And you kind of missed your window. It's been a few years. It's too late for you. Get some new seeds in here. No, it doesn't work that way. If the seed is intact, which the seed in you is, and you grow it according to the principle, the law of emergence in the soil must grow that seed. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down here? Are you feeling the resonance of the truth? And who here wants that? Post in the chat. Who here wants to once and for all know beyond a doubt the key principles to successful living and manifesting and generating all of your needs abundantly and purposefully in the right sequence, not just piecemealing it together anymore and going here and there and over there for years. Whoever keeps, somebody's trying to put up their hand, going for years, but actually to know it once and for all, the process to master this path and how to design a way of life and to be supported in it step by step so that you can build that foundation. I didn't come from a money or success. I rejected all of that. I rejected business. I rejected success. I just wanted to be an artist, and I was a starving artist until I understood this. So I had to learn this through the dust and grit of the journey and the hard knocks school of life and nearly dying twice. So this is not theoretical. This is not merely something I read in a book. Although when I went back after having my near-death experience and reading all the books, I understood them finally. I read the Bible and the Buddhist teaching. I'm like, oh yeah, of course, I knew that now. After almost dying, I see it. But I didn't understand it. And then I had to learn how to apply it. And I've done all the trials and all the experiments and spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars so that I can give this to you without you having to spend 20 years or hundreds of thousands of dollars and actually lay this foundation. So that's what we're doing. I've been giving this to you, all over the last couple of weeks, lots and lots of principles, but now what is needed is to lay the real foundation. We can build blueprints all day long, but if you want a house, we have to actually roll up our sleeves, lay the foundational slab, start putting and framing the house, and then, choose your wallpaper and your carpet or wood flooring and chandeliers. We have to build it now. Just theories and just principles and even just inspiration. Lots of information and inspiration. If it doesn't have circulation and integration, you end up with constipation. Okay? And so we have to metabolize this information and inspiration through specific actions. It has to be integrated. And so, I've spent, you guys, some of you have been on the calls. I've spent 4.5 hours on these calls answering all your questions, facilitating some of you to have breakthroughs and healings, and really doing my best to lay out the big picture so you could really see it and feel it and know that what I'm telling you is real and true and not just some hypey, markety kind of get rich quick thing. It's not get rich. You can't get rich. You can't get what you've already got. This is not a get rich. This is not any of that. This is about how to access and activate and circulate and generate from what you've already got. And you've already got it all. Okay? And we're going to be doing that step by step over the next 8 weeks. And I'll let me just briefly share what's in the program, and then we'll get to the questions, just so we can focus on the questions. And I want to hear your questions about the program more than me just. I will answer some of your questions, obviously, about the principles. I want to make sure here's what I want to do today. I want to make sure you are clear about what we're doing over the next 8 weeks because registration's about to close. And then I'm not going to be doing it again for probably at least a couple of years and maybe never live because my new book, Whole New Human, comes out in January. And that's what that year is going to be about. And this may only ever be something you can do on your own, but it will cost you as much as it is now to get it all live, and you wouldn't get all the bonuses. So if this is something that resonates, there is a timely element to it because, again, I won't be doing it again next year as far as I can see on my schedule. So let me just, and by the way, also, as I've talked just briefly, but it bears repeating, one of the other reasons why I wasn't going to do this again this year, by the way, you can ask my team, I was going to launch a whole new thing. But what's happening in the world right now with AI and technology, not to mention all the craziness in the wars in the world and geopolitical and economic, things are going to get even crazier. We are in right now what's called the fourth turning. And life happens in small and concentric patterns. So everything's happening in patterns unless you break out of them. But left to your own devices, it's patterns, and there's a larger, broader pattern, and we're at the end of a broad, centuries long, like a century long pattern, and AI is coming in and all of this, and it leads to massive disruption. So maybe some of you already know this, maybe you're keeping aware, but there really is an asteroid heading for Earth. I'm going to be talking a lot more about this in my book, and I'm going to be sharing these key principles in the Awaken Wealth work over the next couple of months for those that are in it. But there's going to be massive disruption to jobs, but specifically also to all the things many of you are doing or want to do, whether it's writing books or creating content, workshops, coaching, podcasts, whatever it is, music, art, many of those areas are getting massively disrupted. And there's only two things that are going to help you to survive and thrive and not fall, just be drowned by the tsunami of content and of disruption that's going to happen. And the first one is what we're talking about, to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are the source and to know how to generate all of your needs abundantly, no matter what is going on in the world. And I've been able to do it, and I've been able to help other people do it in recessions, in all manner of challenges all over the world, right? And the second thing is to understand that as you tap into these principles as the foundation, the next step is to know beyond a doubt, as I already said, who you really are, what you're really made of and made for uniquely. The greatest resource on the planet isn't just going to be compute or energy. It's going to be your embodied, lived wisdom and perspective. That is truly unique and irreplaceable about you. And when you know that, and it's on the foundation of knowing that you are the source and that your life is a unique answer to what the world needs, when you put those two things together, you will be the ones the world will look to. You will rise in a time of challenge and crisis. You will become a signal in the noise. Okay? So this is the foundation for that. And please believe me, I'm not being hyperbolistic. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you the level of disruption that's happening already in the pipeline and that's coming. And if you want to live your life's work and make a difference in the world and you want your children or whatever to be supported abundantly, you must take heed, because humans tend to wait till it's a real emergency, and often it's too late and it's way harder to get out of. But if you're feeling the urgency of emergence, don't wait till it becomes an emergency. Okay? I promise you, you'll look back and go, thank God I listened and I didn't not trust this. And again, if you don't believe me, start doing your own research. And this is not to scare you. It is absolutely to prepare you. This is how I'm talking to my own child and to my best friends. And so I'm talking the same way to you. I'm more invested in you being prepared and you being successful than in you maybe liking what I'm saying right now. Okay. So don't say Uncle Derek didn't tell you. All right, let me show you real quick what's in the program and then we'll get to the questions. Okay, oops, sorry. Let me just share this real quick. All right, so I'm assuming you can see that. So this is the page you'll go to when you maybe you can put the link in there if they want to just quickly check it out. And again, this program is for you if you want to have financial empowerment, if you want to embrace your true purpose and you want to be funded to live your purpose, if you want to activate more of your creativity and motivation and have the energy to do what you need to do. Remember, everything is energy. The substance of all creation is, oops, where did I go? Everything is energy, the substance of all creation. And so it's when you activate this abundance, this awakened wealth, it's not just that money shows up, it's that more energy shows up, more inspiration. You know how inspired and how, like, I can't even keep up with the level of ideas and opportunities that flow through me. And so, as you are willing to let go of struggling in the world and get anchored first in this source within you, you're not going to be sitting around just meditating in lotus all day. You're going to be inspired, you're going to be guided, and more life force and love force and healing force. All of that is going to start to flow through you. You're going to become more resilient and adaptable. You're going to attract and develop richer, more meaningful relationships, intimately, professionally. All of this starts to unfold because, again, everything, whatever is missing in your life, has something to do with what you're not circulating, what you're not generating. And when you understand this principle and we get clear on your goals and your vision, I can help you to design your life so that you start circulating, generating whatever is missing. And then it will show up. That currency will flow into and as the forms that you need most. So oops, hold on, let me fix this here. Here's what you get in the Awaken Wealth thing. So you're going to first of all get the whole Awaken Wealth Mastery Program, which sells now and will forever sell for $2,000 just for the program, not the live work, not all the bonuses. People have bought it for that much for many years. You're not going to pay that. In fact, I'm going to give that to you for free. And then you're going to get the 5 weeks, actually more than 5 weeks. It's a total of 8 weeks of live Awakened Wealth coaching and activation. So I'm going to be coaching you and teaching you personally and one-on-one in the group for hours, hours and hours and hours. We're going to be together over the next 8 weeks, really in depth. You're going to get specific personal support and one-on-one facilitations and healings and all of that. That's included. And then you're also going to get an in-depth integration workshop where we put it all together, including some bonuses like charging what you're worth, how to ask for what you want and charge what you're worth, how to make a living doing what you love, etc. We're going to do that. Then you're also going to get quantum healing from me every single day. And I'll just briefly share that it's basically based on the fact that we're all part of the same field and there is these limited beliefs or thought viruses. And I'm going to go into the field and I scan each individual in the whole group, see where there's these patterns and dissolve them. And the result is not that I'm going and doing anything to you personally. So you don't have to worry. You're completely safe. But what it does is it releases you from a lot of these unconscious patterns and it allows more energy to flow. People see light. People have, again, healings, physical, spiritual, relational, obviously financial, and people are able to focus and engage and take the work all the way through, whereas before they weren't. So there's all kinds of breakthroughs that can happen from this work. And that I'm going to be doing that for you every day. And that's only something I typically do for my higher end masterminds or my high end clients who pay me $70,000 a year. So you're going to get all that healing work as well. You're also going to be part of the Awaken Wealth Mastermind. So you're going to have 24/7 opportunities to engage with others, to engage with me, to get questions answered. So you're going to get the support live on the classes. If you can't make a class, you can put in a question and then I'll answer it on the class and you can watch the replay. These classes are high frequency encoded. So even in watching the replay, some of you have already shared this experience in watching some of the replays over the last week or so, that you feel the activation. And you're going to be getting, and even if you missed all the classes, you're going to be getting the mastermind and the opportunity to support. You're going to get all of the program and the modules. You're going to get all of the quantum healing work, and you're going to have all of this for life. So don't worry about every little class fitting into your schedule. I know that some of you think that way, but what you need to think about is where's the resonance, where's the yes. And even if you could only get a percentage of the value here, it's going to carry benefits and have a ROI or return on that investment for the rest of your life. Remember, this is not a one and done. It's building the habits of long-term and sustainable abundance and success. So that first part is about $4,500 in value. You're also going to get the Prosperity Playground, which is my best friend and a shaman and a healer who's healed himself of cancer 3 times and healed other people and is a speaker around the world. And he's going to be doing daily, every single day of the week, live prosperity activations for you. So you're going to get access to that. You don't have to use all these things, but if you want a daily activation and injection, and then you get on with your practice or your work, you're going to have that every single day. So I want you to we've stacked these. So whenever your schedule is, you can hit this every day, and then you can go work in a module, and then you can get on a class once a week, and then you can go in the mastermind whenever you want. Everything is stacked and tiered so you can work at your own pace. You only need to go for the things and the pieces you most want and need. And I want to add one other thing. You're not getting in this program to get in a program. You're getting in this program to get everything you need to finally master this process and manifest your abundance. And so if what you need is to get on a call and talk to me, then you do that. If what you need is to go through the modules and build your plan, I'll show you how to do that. So this is a big illusion people have, is that I need to finish the program or check all the boxes. No, you need to do this so that you can get the answers and the solutions and the support to get the actual results you want. Do you hear what I'm saying? So that's why we've stacked it this way and given you everything you need to get those results. You're also going to get a free ticket to my next 3-day live immersion event, Live Your Life's Work, so that now with the foundation of wealth mastery and the energy of money, you're going to be able to absolutely tap into your life code, your deepest purpose, and whether you already have a business or you want to launch your work in the world, this is going to show you what that is, how to activate it, how to embody it, how to launch it, and how to ultimately make a living doing what you're really born for. It's a deep dive, off the charts, transformational event. You're going to get the entire thing for free when you join this. It is not free if you're not in this, just to be clear. And you're also going to get 60-day Ask Derek Anything. So that's an additional period of time where you'll get my support. So I hope you see, I'm not just throwing a bunch of modules at you and saying, have a nice life. People that have been through my work know I'm in it. I'm in it with you. I'm in it to win it. And I'm committed. Let me just tell you honestly, this is not making much money at all for me. This is actually mostly a cost for me, but it's an investment in a bigger vision that I have. And the bigger vision, the bigger mission is to help awaken individuals to their true divinity and their true identity and their real destiny, so that more and more of you are out there absolutely where the action is, are living your mission, living your destiny, making the difference you came for, so that together we can create a world that works for the highest good of all. Who here wants that? Who here feels that is why you're here? To create a world that works for all and to be part of that. Yes, and that might start, and in fact, it has to start with making your life work, right? You can't go make the world work if your world doesn't work. And so I'm going to help you make your world work first so that you can now extend that wisdom and that power and that abundance to the larger world. So you're going to get all of that. Now, on top of all of that, as if that wasn't enough, you're going to get another $3,000. And these are real numbers. I know you've seen a lot of these things, and a lot of it's just like, people charging $1,000 for a 30-minute live call they did at some point, and they just package it and that's not what this is. These are real programs that I spent a lot of time, energy, and money developing, and I'm giving them all to you for free. I'm giving you the entire Emergence program, the original, that again sold for $2,000 for years. I'm giving you the Self Mastery Accelerator, which is about mastering yourself in multiple ways so that you have the resilience and the strength and the stamina to do what you need to do. And I'm giving you the Thought Leader Blueprint, which will really give you the foundation for living your life code, living your life's work. Now, don't get overwhelmed. You don't have to do all of these while you're in the Awaken Wealth program. But again, in my experience, for some of you that are like, I'm ready to go, man, just show me what I need to do, just give me all the goods, I'm going. I wanted to make sure all of this was included for you. And you're also going to get the journaling mastery, which will help you take all that you're learning and become a master at using journaling, which is really about thinking on paper. Again, don't get overwhelmed. You don't have to do anything. You just know that you have all of this, that these are all real programs that I've sold millions of dollars worth. Lots of people have bought them, and I'm just giving it all to you. All of it. It's over 10,000, almost $10,000 in real value. And it's the whole entire program and all of the support and the coaching and everything is only $697. And you can get started today for as little as $197. You can't even buy Starbucks and a scone for a month for that price. Okay. So, and by the way, if you're thinking, well, what if I can't pay the next 197? That's how you've lived your life up to now, which is projecting the past and the present into the future. And my invitation to you is get in, get the support to take it, your vibration and your wealth consciousness to the next level and stop projecting into the future, because that's what stops so many people is we're looking at what I had or what I have, and we're determining what I'm going to have tomorrow and what I'm going to have next month. And guess what? Now that is what you're going to have. That's all you're going to have because you're projecting yesterday and today to tomorrow. But there is no tomorrow. It's a fantasy. You get to decide what you project there. So you remember when I talked about all the greatest leaders and innovators and successes, they did not judge, they did not act, they did not invest based on appearances. They did not merely look at their bank account or their bodies or their business or the economy. They, in fact, did the opposite. They looked away from all of that and they looked to their vision and they looked to the yes within them. Is it resonate with me? Is something calling me this way? Then let's go. And then they carved a path where no path existed before. That is what all of us must do. Okay? Because you're not getting it from the world, it's coming from you. And so you have to invest up to your highest vision. You have to invest in your yes. No progress happens, no evolution until we say yes to the yes, not just once, but as a habit. Okay? So you're getting all of that. So you can take a look at this page and you can also see there's, out of all the many testimonials, there's, people have made, 40 days and made over $9,000, made over 10,000 by the end. 20 paid, what is this, $1,500, 10,000 above asking price. They sold some property that wasn't selling for months. This person, you'll see you'll find a version of your desired result in many of these testimonials. And again, this is just to show you that it's not just me, it's not just a few people, but that a lot of people are getting results. And again, the key here is what do you resonate? Do you feel like after being on these different calls with me, and perhaps today, does something speak to you? This isn't about following me or even listening to me, but listening to what I'm listening to, which is really the same thing you're listening to. And if you feel a yes, if you feel the resonance, if you feel like I can support you, if you don't trust me, right? Trust the yes within you. As I like to say to people, don't trust people. Love people. Trust God. Trust yourself. Trust that resonance within yourself. And then love people. But don't trust people because you never know what people are being driven by, and neither do they. So I'm not asking you to trust me. I'm asking you to feel the resonance within you. And if it's a yes, but then you want to get curious, what's the big butt in my mouth? Right? Right. It's not good yoga practice to have your butt in your mouth. I'm just saying, I haven't seen that particular asana. Or if your butt's on the fence, isn't it getting sore at this point? Right? So I'm a cuckoo. I like to make jokes because it's nothing really that serious going on when you understand that we are surrounded and enveloped in light and love and in abundance. and we're just figuring it out. We're just all kids running around in a
Definitely.
sandbox trying to figure it out. So the key is to feel your yes. Now, some of you have different reasons for the but, right? Well, I've tried a lot of things before. What if this doesn't work? And I want you to look at some of these reasons because that is literally saying, I give up. I've tried a bunch of things, so what if this doesn't work? So I'm not going to do it. Well, then what? I'm going to wait until, but no, you're going to always have that same excuse. That's a stall tactic of the ego because there's a resonance, and to the ego, real change is death. And it's important to understand that growth and evolution is often a lot of failed experiments, right? A baby learns to walk by falling. Success is the product of a lot of failing. And so you haven't failed just because you didn't get all the results you wanted so far. You're still learning to walk and you must get back up again. So you can only say yes or no to life. And you must say yes to life and keep saying yes. You got to keep getting back up. Again, I've invested hundreds of thousands, probably a lot more by now, millions if you count in my business. And I've invested tens of thousands of hours. And out of all of that, it's hard to see where, there's only a few big breakthroughs and successes that led me here. Evolution is a lot of failures, but just enough successes that you're standing here or sitting here. So when you hear yourself go, well, I've tried so many things and it hasn't worked, so what? Do you want to live? Do you want to thrive? Do you want to get the answer? Do you want to know how all those people you admired became people you admired? They stopped, they never stopped. So the key is if you resonate, there is something here for you. And then you want to make the intention. I'm going to wait and see what Derek gives me because that's an old pattern. How you do anything is how you do everything. That's called being a victim. That's called waiting. And whatever you wait for, you're the one holding it back and weighing it down. And this is the ultimate weight loss program. It's time to lose all the weight, WAIT. And so you want to say, I'm going to get everything I need and more than I can imagine to get the results that I need to do X, whatever that is. That's what you want to set as an intention. And what I'll tell you is you won't just get everything I'm giving you, which is a lot. You'll get things I'm not even giving you. You'll get answers and insights, revelations and breakthroughs that I didn't even say or do. How is that possible? Because it was always in you in the first place. But in this field and in this activation and in this process, it opens out a way, and suddenly the stuff that's been stuck there starts to come up and to come out. Okay? So you want to set that intention. And then the other thing people look at is the cost. And I understand that even for some of you, 697 or even 197 might feel like a lot of money. I've been there. I've had to pay my rent, use my rent money for stuff many times. I almost went bankrupt saying yes to my yes. So I've been there many times. And what I want you to understand, this is what helped me. Maybe it will help you, is instead of just looking at the cost of a thing, we have to look at what has it cost us already to not know the answers, to not have solved this, right? And when I did that cost analysis in my own life, when I was in those places, I still am in those places now because I have to make much bigger investments and things. And I can see that it's cost me way more to not have this thing solved or to not understand this. How much missed opportunity? How many dollars have you lost because you were just leaking energy? How many opportunities? What has it done to you emotionally? And even in some cases, physically, to not have your abundance mastered enough so that all of your needs are met abundantly so you can focus on living your life and your vision. Because remember, survival alone, catching up and getting your needs met alone is not abundance. Abundance is the overflow. Abundance is I have enough to grow the seed into the tree to the fruit. You're not here to just make ends meet. You're here to prosper. You're here to grow and to give fruit, to deliver your gifts. If you're not at the point where you are consistently delivering your gifts, you are not in abundance yet. So we want to get to abundance. As you heard, as many of you heard me made the saying, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is in you, it will destroy you. So it's not just about getting safe. Safety is the most dangerous place to live in. It's about being abundant. It's about giving forth the gifts, talents, the love, the prosperity that is within you. That's what I want you to think about. So, what does that cost you to not be able to live that way? And now, what is it going to cost you over the next year? You can start to honest, this is not a trick, it's a thought experiment. You will begin to see and feel in your body, it's going to cost me so much more. Actual money, wasted money, lost opportunities, mental, emotional, physical challenges, whatever the case is, because it's all a lack of circulation. It's going to cost me many times more if I don't get some solution or resolution or mastery over this. Can you all see that? And I want you to begin to apply that to the rest of your life. So, whatever is that problem or concern or question that's coming up, and some of you will say, well, I really want to, but I really don't have it. And then that's again judging by appearances. You're judging based on resources. And instead, you need to look at there's never a lack of resource, there's only a lack of resourcefulness. And so, and this is a master practice. You know how when that 90-pound woman, the car is on their child, they don't have the resources to lift the car off the child when that happens. So where does all that energy and strength come from? It comes from where it's always at. In the moment the reason is strong enough, she lifts that car off that kid. And that little 90-pound woman will fight to the death a 200-pound man if they're threatening their child, like a mama bear. Where does all that courage and strength and fierceness and power? And so understand, if you say, I don't have it, you are not broke. You may not be manifesting the cash flow, but you must get more resourceful. And I've seen happen so many times where people are like, I don't have it, but I really want it. And I say, well, do the 25 ways to manifest more. Write down, come up with 25 ways you can get it. Selling anything you can other than your kidney to actually make it happen. And what people discover is they were certain they couldn't. And then a day or two or three later, they did. And that is not merely, oh, now I have a couple $100. That is, holy shit, I was certain I couldn't. And I did. That's going from victim to creator. That is a literal jump up on the evolutionary ladder. And I just got chills there. And I hope you can feel that. When you get that, when you believe something and you are sure it's true, and then you see it's not, that is a miracle. That is where your life begins to change. Because now you're like, what other lies have I been believing? Where else have I been saying I can't? I don't have the time, the energy, the money. It's too late. It's too soon. Screw that. I'm going for it. And now life inside of you goes, yes, we got another one. You are my beloved in whom I'm well pleased, and all that I have is yours. Prove me now in this, and I will open up the windows of heaven and pour forth a blessing too big for you to even receive. Now God and life is like, all right, now we're talking, kids. This is what I've been trying to tell you. Don't judge by the appearances. Open out a way and release that imprisoned splendor. Lift that car off. You're stronger than you think. Like, you've got that. So please know, if that's where you're at, that's your opportunity to prove that you are made of more than this, that the potential in you is always infinitely greater than whatever problem you face. That's a fact. Okay. So whatever the objection is, other than if you're absolutely certain this is a no for you, in which case I would be curious, why are you here still, still listening? As I like to say, I'm like on these calls for 4.5 hours and there's still hundreds of people there. And I'm like, do you guys still think you don't know what your answer is? You've been listening to me for 4.5 hours and some of you for 8 hours, and you're still like, I'm not sure if this is for me. Again, this isn't about me. Look at your behavior, trust what you're resonating with, and notice where, for those of you that are still trying to just get a little piecemeal here, a little bit there, telling yourself, oh, I got enough, or oh, I can't afford it. And I'm not judging you. I'm just really, truly, it's like Jerry Maguire, help me to help you. Notice where you're stopping yourself. There's a breakthrough on the other side of that wall. And then the final thing I'll say, and then I'll open it up for questions. Thank you for listening, is that one of the other things that stops us in having our breakthrough, and remember, the breakthrough is in consciousness first and foremost. The miracle is the shift of perception, and then the fruits follow, the signs follow. And so another place is where we stop before we've taken all the actions we can. It's similar to the thing I just said, but a little different. It's a form of learned helplessness. And I'll use this example. You guys have heard me, if you've been on the calls recently, you've heard me say this. Many of you want to do this, and some of you have a reason why you can't. But for all of you that want to, many of you have still not gone to the sales page because you've already decided you can't, but you want to. Many of you have gone to the sales page, but you didn't click because you're like, well, after all, I really can't, but you want to. And definitely most of you have not gone to the cart page and filled out your information because what's the point? I can't. Now, follow this logic. That all seems logical, right? I want, but I can't, so I'm not even going to try. And you think, well, why try? I can't. And it's exactly the opposite. If you want to have the breakthrough, life, you first have to take all the steps you can take towards life, and then life will meet you. And so every single one of you that wants this can take at least one or two or three more steps towards what you want, right? And this is an analogy. There's no trick here. I'm not going to reach out of the screen and grab your credit card. Okay? Nothing bad's going to happen. It's a practice. If you want this support and you want this breakthrough, but you're not in the habit of taking all the actions until you're right hanging over the cliff, then you'll never, ever have your breakthrough because you're waiting for a breakthrough that's several steps down the road and around the corner, but you're standing here going, I can't see it. Yeah, you'll never see it because you're not taking all the steps you can take. Now, if you don't understand this, post in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking, because if you understand this, this could be the breakthrough you've been waiting for. You must take all the steps you can take. It doesn't matter what you think you can or can't do. And I've used the example of the barracuda fish, and they put a glass partition, and the fish goes up to get its food on the other side. It keeps banging into the glass, and then it gives up. And they remove the glass. And now the fish goes up to where the glass was, goes back into the corner, and starves to death. It didn't take all the steps it could because it had a preconditioned, learned helplessness pattern. I can't. There's a wall there, but there was no wall. There's no wall for all of you to go to the sales page, to take it seriously if you want this help, and then to fill out the cart page and take it seriously because I can do that. Like, like if I want to be a best-selling author, I can figure out what I want to write. I can create an outline. I can learn how to write. I can write a page a day. I can write a book. I can keep doing it. But most people stop before they do all the things they can. And again, remember, it's the law of circulation. If there's all these steps available to you, and you've got an idea that says, well, that's stupid or silly, or what's the point? I can't do it anyway, and you don't take them, you have blocked the circulation and you're stuck right there. And there you will remain, except through crisis or struggle that forces you to take another step. Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? So if you want this, take every step you can right now and for the rest of the day until this thing ends, and don't stop. Even if you don't get all the way to the breakthrough, if you're willing to engage in that, I promise you something new will emerge. Something will crack open. You'll have an insight. You'll have a breakthrough. I've seen it happen so many times that I'm telling you what I know for sure. Don't trust me. Try it out. Run the experiment. Okay. So let's open up to questions. Let me just take a quick look in the chat. Let me just put the link here again. Okay, give me one quick sec, guys, and then we'll jump into the questions. All right, let's go over here to Laura.
Hi.
Hello, my dear.
First, oh, sorry. Okay. Thank you so much for everything you're doing and the knowledge and love and source that you're bringing through. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. I love seeing your face up there. It's really good to see
Ah, you're
you.
so sweet. Thank you. Um, my personal issue is I want to say I know what you're saying, but obviously I don't because it's not being reflected. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I've been receiving messages from the I am within myself for decades. And I've followed through, written books, songs, and art and everything, and gotten things out there. Yet finances are an issue. So I'm missing something. I don't know what it
Is
is.
that your art behind you, by the way?
It is.
That's great. That's
It's a
awesome.
shower curtain I painted on top of
Oh,
these.
that's nice. That's really cool. It's got a little Jackson Pollock going on, but it's like if Jackson Pollock was like a mystic with like cosmic stuff going on in there, infinity loops and stuff. So yeah, so there's a couple things without getting too down into the weeds, although we are going to get more in the weeds specifically around money and finances in the program, just so as everybody knows where we combine these transformational principles and practices with also very, very specifically looking at your money and your finances and creating a money map and what's your monthly amount and how much would you need to become financially free. Like we work with the numbers, which also then will bring up the unconscious patterns. Because one of the things that's happening for you and for many of you is when it comes to taking your art or your books or whatever it is you have, and now taking it through the next step, the masculine part, which is giving it structure in the world, you hit thresholds. You either go, oh, I don't know how to do the tech, or I don't know how to sell, or it's really hard, or I've tried a bunch of things and nobody's buying, and you stop at some point, you hit a threshold. And maybe it's a shadow for some of you, where the idea of selling your stuff feels icky, and you may not even be aware of it, but it actually slows you down or pulls you back or gets you distracted and you spend days on a web page and no time on actually selling, and like there's specific principles to taking our ideas and turning them into form and then monetizing them. But it's even though there's principles there, the reasons why people don't take it all the way through is there's some kind of values conflict or shadow. I don't know if you were on that call this last week about,
Yes.
was it last one? What is today?
Oh,
Wednesday? Yeah. It was this week, wasn't it? I don't know. I've lost track of time, but I think it was Monday. So, so then what, and so, but we're not aware that's what's coming up. But if I was to watch you in your life, which I'll have a better chance of doing if you're in the program, well, what are you doing now? What's your plan? What's the goal? What's the path? Okay, now go do it. And then you come back and go, okay, I did it. I couldn't do it. Okay, what's coming up? And now we can see, oh, there's a shadow there, there's a values conflict, there's a story, right? And and again, a lot of people with spiritual, they've done a lot of work like you have. There's a lot of feminine energy or spiritual energy, but again, not enough masculine. They're not in the world enough, and there's a little bit of a wishful thinking. There's another word for it. Wishful thinking is fine. That if they just feel good or get connected, then match, like in the movie The Secret, the red bicycle shows up at the back door magically. And if you actually look at their life, they're not doing the consistent actions every single day that it takes to embody something, right? Like you said in the beginning, I understand it, but I know I don't really know it. And so you haven't really learned anything until you're living it consistently, right? And if you study anybody, whether it's Jesus selling the idea of God, or Dr. King selling the idea of civil rights, or Steve Jobs selling the idea of Apple computers, or whatever the case, you'll see that they didn't just have a vision and they weren't just doing their inner work, but they had a very specific and consistent work ethic. Every single one of them. Jesus was giving sermons every day, everywhere, all across the town, He was working his butt off. He wasn't just sitting in a cave meditating. And what stops us from doing the work and the hard work necessary is a shadow or just a false belief. So tell me what resonates with you and what's coming up as I say all that. Any thoughts, feelings?
Well, I have taken things and I have been mildly successful, but
Okay.
I guess what on the course or whatever we call it, you actually work with us individually
Well,
and
not like privately, but in the call, I'll be working with you, not just on the principles, but specifically on your goals to help you see. Because understand, it's not magic. Success leaves clues. And one of the remember, it's all about circulation. And so one of the elements of circulation is if you have a goal, and again, I've been doing this for 20 years, so it's always the case somewhere along the line, we are not coming from the energy of I have, I can, I'm able. And so we're pushing and pushing. We're like Sisyphus pushing a rock up a hill and it rolls down. So that's the first main problem. The second main problem is we don't have clarity of where we're going and a clear structure to focus. And so our energy is leaking. And so it can never gain, like having a crock pot or a pressure cooker with the lid off, and you wonder why it's never cooking. So we don't have the structure. And part of that structure includes a lot of us heart-centered, creative, spiritually minded people, we're not necessarily innately entrepreneurial, which is to say, we don't fully understand, and many of us don't believe that you have to actually do as much work as it really does take to get it all the way through, to really embody the idea, to really become the change, as Gandhi said. So we do some things, and we go, I've tried so many things. I've tried everything, but you really have only tried a little. Or I've really tried hard, but you only tried for a few days or a few weeks or even a few months. And what happens is not that it stops working. It's that we stop working it because we get scared, bored, tired, frustrated, overwhelmed, burned out. Something comes up, and we think it's being caused by the fact that we're not getting the success we want. But what's really happening is we finally hit the threshold where the real reason we're not getting the results is now bubbling up. It's a feeling and it's a belief. Oh, it's never going to work. Oh, I don't understand money, or some kind of a story. And again, hear me, everybody. It's not coming from the world. You finally hit a threshold where the deeper wound or false story about yourself or about life is finally coming up. And instead of people understanding, oh, this is what I've been trying to dig up, now I can see the story and the belief and the emotions that I've been carrying all my life. Now I can actually flip the script and turn it around. People have that moment and they stop, they give up. They believe the story. They feel like it's just too hard. I don't know how. It's never going to happen. I'm not good enough. It's, whatever. Or they'll blame the world and they stop and then they start over again and then they wind themselves back up to that threshold and they hit it again and they think again, oh, it must be the wrong project, the wrong time, I'm not good enough, blah, blah. And then they start again. And what I want you to understand is just like when they were testing supersonic jets and they would hit the sound barrier and the thing would start falling apart and shaking and they would pull back, it wasn't the world that was causing that. It was that the structure of the plane wasn't strong enough yet. So they had to take it back and rebuild it. Or the engine, when they rev up an engine until it bursts a leak, the problem isn't energy, too much energy. The problem is the engine hasn't been quite built strong enough to hold all that energy. So when we hit those breaking points, when we understand this, we don't stop. We now understand this is where I need to fix the leak, change the story, get a little stronger, change my perception, focus back, and keep going. And in that way, now you actually have an evolution. You actually change permanently, and you are living at a whole new level. So that's what I want to help you and everybody do. So we are going to, that's why a lot of this energy, some people have been feeling a lot of energy come up in these calls and emotions and darkness and fear and you think it's just because this all sounds too hard, but what I'm really doing is trying to bring up in you what is the real lie you've been believing in. Does this make sense?
Yes, that's what I have to find out what that is.
Yeah, because partly for you again, it's and this is very common, so it's not a judgment. You might be doing a lot of things. You might even be busy for some of you. Busyness is one of the greatest acts of procrastination. And but in terms of staying the course on what you want most and figuring out how to do it sustainably and successfully, that's where you hit, there's a deeper sense of unworthiness is what I'm really catching, a deeper sense of inadequacy, and it brings it up and it doesn't feel good. And then you end up doing something else or distracting until the energy settles down or you stop short of or whatever. So again, it doesn't mean you're not doing things and you're a beautiful artist. So there's definitely a place for your work. And I don't know what else you're doing, but the problem isn't that you can't. The problem is at some point you don't. You stop. And that's something to think about. And if you can begin to notice that and feel what is it that comes up in me when I hit that threshold, we'll be able to play with that and unpack that more on this journey.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome, my dear. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, let's go to Liza. Hey, my dear. Good to see you.
Hello, 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 hello. Good to see you too.
What's your question today?
Okay, first of all, I just want to say that I'm so grateful for you and the amazing channel that you are in my life.
Well, thank you, my dear.
Wow, and I joined Awakened Wealth last year, and it was absolutely life-changing. So I'm so grateful. Absolutely. Okay, so my question it is I started oh I get really nervous now. I'm so excited. I want to jump in again. On Monday it's possible, I know. I'm very excited, and at the same time there has been a lot of grief bubbling up lately. And that is something that is keep bubbling up for me over and over again.
I was just going to say that was coming, that's been coming up for a while.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and I really want to let go of what have been and just like become at peace with it and move on.
Yes.
Yeah. Deep breath. Okay.
Well,
I
let me just say, because I understand, I understand grief. I've had a lot of loss, and we all have grief, different levels of grief, and grief has its own timeline. In fact, I just this morning, was it this morning or was it last night and this morning, really the last few days, I've been feeling a lot of grief, actually for the last week or so. And and I can feel it even right now. There's a lot of sadness, a lot of grief, and it's a combination of things. And I think it's true for a lot of us. Part of it is maybe you've had real loss, and I've certainly had real loss, losing a child and other dreams and things that now are not going to look the way that I wanted or thought they would. And the first thing to understand is that it's not on our timeline, and and it still comes up for me sometimes like it did yesterday or today, and it felt almost debilitating again. And so part of it is just to be with it and to let that energy move. Emotion is energy in motion, like a forest fire. It sometimes just needs to burn and burn whatever, burn away what no longer is needed. And it's not saying it's easy, but as you're willing and able to be with it, don't just try to be at peace. That's a form of control. That's a form of resistance. Peace, you can focus on peace as a practice, but when the emotion is coming up, you don't want to resist it. You don't want to try to make it peaceful. You want to be able to witness it without any reaction, and then it will move. And the other thing to understand is that grief is not just letting go of the pain of a loss of some kind, although that's part of it. As I said, after losing my son, the voice said to me, when the form of your love is shattered, it is not lost, it is liberated. And so the love is not lost, it is liberated. And whatever we think we've lost, our visions and fantasies of family, of parents, of our jobs or careers or the world, all of that shattering, my dear, is trying to break us free of concepts that are limiting our love and our light and our life. And it's inviting us to let that grief move through us because it's really just more love and more light and more life that just wants to expand. And at first, it has to burn down the concepts and the stories and the structures that we've been holding on to dearly. And so that feels painful, but just keep bringing yourself back to the heart and just saying yes to more love. Yes, love, use me. Yes, life. Yes, light. Yes, yes, yes. I'm willing to be an ever purer, ever bigger, ever clearer, and ever stronger place of life and light and love and peace and beauty and generosity of the heart. Let everything that does not serve, everything that is in the way, let love sweep through the entire territory of my soul and wash away everything that is in its way. And just feel that. So now your attention is on love, but you let it alchemize and chemicalize and transmute, even if it feels like pain. Let it flood you. Let it just flood your system and let it just do whatever it has to do. And that's the practice. But it's preparing you to be a bigger instrument of love. And as that comes through, or a bigger instrument of whatever, life, abundance, as that frequency is allowed to take up more space, it will manifest. But this work right now that you're doing, my dear, is the work. So don't try to step over it to get to the good stuff. This is the good stuff, even though it doesn't feel so good. And I know that many of you are probably feeling this energy right now. And and that's okay. Just let it move. This is the work. You know, the forest fire burns away the canopy and burns the detritus and dead wood, and it fertilizes the soil and it burns the serotinous glue and opens up the pods and releases the progeny, the seeds, and allows for the fertilization of new harvests and new forests. This is just part of the process. For whatever reason, this is how it works. Yeah. And I got you, my dear. And everybody's holding you and your precious heart as we are all holding each other's heart. Yeah. So why don't you just sit with that, my dear? You don't need to say any words. You don't need to do anything. Just keep holding your heart, feeling it. It's not about indulging in it to anybody. I'm not saying you are. It's about holding these parts of us.
I
They
don't know
just,
what the word indulging
that's
means.
okay. That's okay. You don't need to. You're so cute. You don't need to know. Just hold those parts of you as you're so beautifully doing. And you're just being purified and prepared and more space being made for more of who you really are to come through your love and your light and your joy and your passion. And just know you're in my heart. Okay. The rest is details right now. We'll figure it out. Let's take a breath for Liza. And for everybody, whoever's feeling the feels, give me one more second. I'm just going to lower my desk and so I can sit with the final questions here. All right, let's go to Ian. Hey, my brother, how can I support you? Go ahead and unmute yourself there. You should see a little unmute thing popping up, a white button or something. There
There
you
we go. There you go. Sorry about that.
go. Oh, no worries.
Anybody's time on the mute button. Well, Derek, it's good. It's good to put a voice to a face. You know. Now, well, I've been hearing you and seeing you a lot on these few days.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm going through a lot of changes in my life. You know, and I'm at an age where I have the privilege of traveling and being in places where I need to be. I
Mhm.
mean, large distances, but I'm leaving parts of my family behind, and then coming to what I have to do in my original country of birth. So, so I'm dealing with being back at my mother's house and in the neighborhood where I grew up more than 50 years ago.
Mhm.
And a lot of things are happening that there are good attractions, but need to be. I need some coaching to lead me through them because they exhaust everything. They take everything out of me. Uh, you know, and uh, and I see the value in this, and I think I can pull it off, but I need mental clarity. will I be able to get it from?
When you say mental clarity, I mean, I might first confuse the hell out of you to get started.
Okay.
That's part of the process. Confusion is actually a very high state on the path. Confusion means there's two ideas, one of my past ideas and a new thing emerging, fusing with fusion, confusion. They're coming together, not to be confused with Confucius, but I have a different religion, Confucianism instead of Confucianism. But the point is some of the ideas will be disrupted, and it might, and that's in part what's happening. Some of the lack of clarity is there's new energies that are emerging in you right now, and you don't quite know where they fit or where you fit in what's trying to emerge right now. So that's not a bad thing. We don't want to just jump to clarity. We want to first understand what is the confusion that is coming up, because there's a message and there's wisdom in that. So I'm being somewhat tongue in cheek, but not entirely. Part of the process is confusion, is disintegration, is a breaking down of thoughts and ideas, and also being able to see what's coming up and what's the story behind it. Okay. Because we're never really confused or lacking clarity. We just are trying to find the thing we think it should feel like, instead of being very present with exactly what is arising. So, what is the confusion that's arising right now, and what is the clarity you want more of?
Okay. I believe that all of these things that are happening to me are good signs. I mean, don't take me wrong, they're good signs, but they're very deep.
Yeah.
I mean, an example, okay? I went to a neighborhood.
Well, that's just for the timing's sake, because we don't have a lot of time. Just
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
specifically right? It's okay. We'll get into that more in depth in the program, but we don't need to tell a lot of story to get to
Yeah, it's
what is it specifically that you're feeling confused about and that you think you want or need more clarity about?
no, it's just that okay, I met up at how do you say velorio in English?
Hmm.
When you go and somebody passes and you go and say you're sorry for the passing of your mother, okay?
Mhm.
And the person that was there, the daughter, was a friend that we grew up with, and the connection was so deep that I didn't feel I was there. I felt that I was with a person that I was supposed to see that I hadn't seen in many years,
Mhm.
and uh, and that brought me a lot of happiness. It brought me a lot of good, but I want more of that.
Okay, so when you say that, so the thing you want, sorry, my camera's doing that weird thing again, but you can still hear me, right, Ian?
Yes,
So when you say you want more of, describe that in the form of the specific goal or outcome that you want.
a connection, love. You know that
So
I feel.
are you talking about like intimate love, partnership,
No,
or are you
no,
just talking
no,
friendship?
friendship, but deep friendship. You
Okay,
know, those unique friendship are the ones that you can count
right. So
on.
you want to create a
on-
life of more deep friendship and connection.
Yeah,
And and so when you think about the setting that in the container of your vision, what comes up that is not clear? What's confusing about that? Just as an example.
it's not the right moment. It's not the right moment. And she's leaving in a couple of days. She just came for the funeral.
So are you sure that what you want is just friendship?
Well, we had a relationship in the past.
Okay, so this is the opportunity for you to just be, it's oh, no, there's nothing wrong with what you're saying, but to
Yeah,
me, when I feel into your field, I feel a lot of loneliness from before, and I feel a deep desire for something that is not just friendship, that there's a desire for companionship.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
So let's just sit with that for a moment and just feel the energy of that. Let that truth drop in. It's not a lack of clarity, but there's shadows or values conflicts around, that I can have that I can have that deep companionship that I most want. Just feel that's what I want. And notice how that feels differently than what you were saying before. Can you feel that in your heart? I want that companion. What do you feel bubble up now when you acknowledge and tell the truth? No progress happens until we tell the truth. But sometimes it takes a little bit to get clear on and to be courageous enough to proclaim the truth. And the truth is, I want companionship, real deep companionship, right?
Yeah. When I use the word companionship, it makes me calm. It
Okay.
brings calmness. Yes.
Beautiful. And so now we won't get, we're not going to get into all this. I'm just showing you a little, just a little piece, but notice how you said, it's not, I can't, it's not the right time, da 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 da, right? So what is it that comes up as you feel that feeling when you think about having it? There's, you can't, because what's the story that comes up of why you can't have it? Partly the timing, you're saying timing and all that.
It's not, it's just, I mean, she goes back to the States. I have a resident visa. I'm afraid of going back to the States because I think they're going to take it away from me.
Right. Where you're outside of the US, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little crazy, I understand. So let me just get down now. Again, there's always, everybody has, if you're not living the life you want, here's the object lesson, my brother. If you're not getting what you really want, it's not, there's always going to be something we can point to. Well, it's this thing, it's Donald Trump, or it's the States, or it's the visa, or it's my mom, or it's not the right time for this, this, and this, but then it will be. And I want you to understand that the heart has its reasons that reason can never understand, that there's a logic and a truth to the heart and to the soul. And all these individuals I mentioned, the great innovators and leaders, and also the great lovers throughout history, they did not go for the love and the life and the abundance that they wanted when it was the right time. They literally faced attackers and judgment and getting kicked out of their family and losing their job and people thinking they were crazy and literally with their life at stake, whatever. And as a result of the courage to say yes to their yes, no matter what, not to judge by appearances, but to judge righteous judgment, which is what's the yes within me, they were able, this is where the great romantic stories, the great love stories come from. This is where the great stories of invention and innovation and transformation and leadership come from. It's the individuals that had the courage to say yes to their yes against all odds, against all logic. And that is not about, these stories, even the real stories, are not about other people. They're about us. And they're all trying to tell us how to live and show us how to live. And so I'm not telling you what to do, but I want you to at least feel the truth of it, because once you really acknowledge the truth, the energy starts moving. It's already starting to move. And you're like, oh shit, now I can't unsee that and unknow that truth. And so the truth is, when we have to get better at first knowing ourselves, that's step one, know thyself, and then to have the courage to be ourselves and to be true to ourselves. And we do not wait for the time, the money, the being good enough, the right conditions, because if we do, if you look at your life, and if I was to do a forensic account of your life right now, I will tell you for sure that this pattern of having a good reason of it not being the right time, we will be able to see this pattern throughout your life. It's not just now that it happened. It's a pattern in a way that you've held back the life you've really wanted in more ways than one, because you were trying to be either a good man or safe or whatever, but now is your moment. The reason why you're here is because enough waiting already, enough waiting for the right condition. Now is your moment, brother. Otherwise, you will be on your deathbed going, I could have been a contender. I could have been someone. I could have done all this. And the number one regret of the dying is not all the shots we took that we didn't make. It's it's the shots that we wanted that we didn't take. Whether you need to chase that person or whether you need to just know that I'm going to have this. And now you begin to open up for how, where's the path? But for you and for everybody, all of your growth and your progress, that whole saying, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. But the first step is you have to say yes to yourself. Yes to that love. Yes to companionship. Yes, I don't care what's going on with anybody else. I am this that I'm feeling is not telling me what's outside of me that I need to get. It's telling me what is inside of me trying to get out. I must let this out. I must let this lover and this companionship and this life, whatever it is, I must live into that. I must be true to that now. That's what's trying to happen. It's not a lack of clarity, it's a lack of courage. And no judgment, but courage is when I know what's true and I do it even though I'm afraid. And if we wait weeks and months and years, that's called no courage. And if we wait for the right condition, that's called no courage. And as we shrink the gap between the knowing and the wanting and the living into it, the closer that gap is, the more courage we have. And as we practice, even with little things, eventually we're like, there it is, go. There it is, go. That's a courageous person. And I sincerely believe that's who you really are. And my invitation to you, brother, is it's time to go. It's go time for that life. Do you feel me? Tell me what you're feeling right now as we just wrap this up.
I feel good. I feel good. I need that little push. I'll fly. I'll grow wings on my way down.
There
No
you
problem.
go. There you go,
Yeah.
brother. So that's an example of what that's an example of in that moment, a little bit of that circuit just got repaired. There's a little more energy flowing. And what we're going to do in the program is get enough of those circuits repaired if you're willing to show up so that you have more energy, more guidance, more clarity, and you're actually living it all the way through. Because invariably, you'll take the next step or the next few steps, and then you're going to bump into another challenge for all of us. And so we need to be held in a container until we go through an entire cycle, and now we've got that new habit. And now you can go out and you can run that habit again and again and again. Cool? Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
brother. Yes? Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Yay! Let's go to Christine. So today is not going to be a 4-hour call. I'm just got to warn you out of the gate. I've probably got 10 minutes. Let's see how many people we can get through here. I'm probably lying. It'll be more than 10 minutes, but I'll do my best. All right. Hey, Christine.
Okay.
How can I help you, my dear? What's your question?
I don't get clear. I don't find the courage uh, to go for it simply because I have made a lot of investments in my in going for it, and I have and then nothing happened.
Great. So you may have heard me talk about this earlier, and thank you for sharing this, my dear. So understand the words you just used. I made many investments in going for it, and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
So if like when a person says to me, how's your day going? I don't say, well, I've been waiting and waiting and nothing's happening. I say, I don't know how the day's going, but I know how I'm going about my day. Or somebody says, how's life treating you? I don't say, well, this is how life's been treating me. I wish life would treat me better. I say, I don't care about how life's treating me. I know how I'm treating life. So a person who has the circuitry in their power never says, I did something and nothing happened. They're not focused as much on the outcomes as they are on the inputs. Meaning, if I did something and I didn't get the outcome I wanted, a person who's stuck in the hypnotic spell of victimhood, of magical thinking, and this is not a judgment of you, it's not even your fault, it's a universal belief that I want to snap all of you out of. The person that's in that, they do a little something and then they wait for something magic to happen. But the person who understands how life operates, that whatever's missing is what they're not giving, they do something, they see what the outcome is, and if it's not the outcome they want, they do more and they adjust what they're doing. And then they see what the outcome is, and if it's not what they want, they do more and they adjust what they're doing. Like golfing, you all know what golfing is. You hit the ball for the hole. It doesn't usually go in the hole right away. You don't go, I hit the ball, it didn't work. You go, okay, where's the hole again? Meaning, where am I going? What do I want? Okay, let me adjust. Let me try a different club. Let me hit it again. And then you hit it again, and maybe it goes in the river, it goes in the rough, whatever. And then you're like, oh, see, it's not working. No, you don't do that. You go, where's the hole? Okay, let me hit it again. And you don't go, well, I've already gotten lessons, so I'm not going to take any more golf lessons. I tried the whole golf lesson thing, and the ball's not in the hole. You take another lesson, and another lesson, and another swing, and another swing. And you learn each time, if you're learning, and eventually every single one of you will get the ball in the hole. It might take some of you 3 swings and some of you 3,000. But if you keep learning and you keep successively approximating, you'll all get it in the hole. That's called life. That's called evolution. So I bet I've spent 100 times as much as you have on programs, my dear. And I know how painful and challenging that is, and to not get the results. But understand that, as I said earlier, there's only 2 choices. We can decide, I want the goal that I want. I want to create a great life or live my dreams or whatever it is that you want. And I'm not going to give up or stop learning and then trying until I get there. Or you can decide, I've tried a lot of things, and so I don't want to try anymore. I don't want to spend any more money, which is like saying, I've tried loving and I've had my heart broken so many times, so I don't want to keep trying to love. Go ahead. You can have the word, Christine.
That is not the point.
Okay.
Um,
I think the point is.
the point is, I'm now 69 years old.
Mhm.
The last 10 years, I worked almost full time on voluntary basis.
Okay.
And then several things happened, and I understood something has to change. I have to write a new chapter.
Mhm. Great.
But I lack the clarity and what new chapter I want to write.
Okay.
And
So you're saying right now you lack the clarity.
yes.
Okay. So how do you think you're going to get the clarity?
So I tried for the last years to get more clarity on what makes my heart sing. I would say one part of me knows it, but it doesn't arrive here.
Well, it probably arrives there, but it doesn't fully, or maybe you're right. Maybe you know it here, but you haven't given words to it. So let's just take a moment. So first of all, what I heard you say before is different. What you said before is I've tried all these things and it didn't work. Nothing happened. And so what I want to make very clear that that point is still the point I'm making, which
Yeah.
is you don't, so what if it hasn't worked yet? Okay, maybe it hasn't worked, maybe it is working, you just haven't gotten to the place where, it's like the story of the Chinese bamboo seed. They plant the seed and nothing happens for the first year, nothing happens in the second year, nothing happens in the third year. And if you don't go kill the person that, strangle the person that sold you these Chinese bamboo seeds, in the fifth year, it grows like 90 feet tall. But so the key is it was growing the whole time, it was just all growing underground. And so sometimes it looks like nothing's happening, and we often give up before the roots sprout above ground and grow shoots and fruits. So that's the first piece. So the key is if we want to live, we can only say yes to life or no to life. And I would encourage everybody to keep saying yes to life. And that means
Yeah.
we have to keep going, we have to keep learning, we have to keep growing, and we never give up, and we keep getting back up no matter what it costs in our time, talent, or treasure. Otherwise, we're choosing death, we're choosing stagnation. So that was the point I was making. And if you resonate with this that we're talking about today that I've been teaching, that's your guidance system for where you want to move towards. Obviously, if you don't resonate, don't move that way. And then if you're resonating, but then you have something coming up that's saying, yes, but I'm trying to help you all understand how to get your butt out of your mouth and how to because the resonance is the guidance system. And then we have all these reasons why we stop ourselves. It's too late, I've tried too much, I've spent too much, what if it doesn't work? I don't know where I'm going, whatever. So that's that. Now, in terms of the guidance, the first guidance about the right direction to walk in is the things that resonate. That's a breadcrumb. So if it's resonating, there's something about that, because that's really how the soul speaks. The soul doesn't speak in words, it speaks in resonance, it speaks in luminousness. What's attracting? What's luminous? What lights me up? What turns me on? And so if you've been on this call for 2 hours now, and for those of you that have been on all of these calls, we're like 12 hours into this now, something is guiding you. And it's not actually me. I might be a channel of words and resonance, but it's the frequency and the idea and the values that I'm sharing, which are universal. That's your guide. So that is telling you which direction to go. That's the first thing to know. Ultimately, the feminine does not use words. The feminine is about the resonance, the feeling tone. And then we can certainly begin to ask, why is this direction calling me? What is it about this direction that lights me up? If I could be whoever I wanted to be, and this is to you now, Christine, if I could be based on what's attracting me, what's resonating with me here, if I could be the person I really wanted to be and follow that resonance and express that in my life in a form of a living or a creation or a being or a doing, what would that look like that would feel really, really good? So now just let that drop in and just tell me what comes out, what bubbles up as the vision you would most like to live, the person you'd like to be, and how you feel like this resonance is part of that. What would that look like if you could have it look any way you wanted? Keep talking. I'm just adjusting my screen here. Share with me what that is.
So I want to create a living project.
A living project?
Yeah, for people with special needs and without, of course. And community. And in this place, live and work together with others to lift and to lift, to be a light together, a light fire in our troubling world.
So you want to create community and
Yes.
create either an organization or a program or something that is to help people to live according to these higher values and these higher qualities,
Yes.
and to do it individually so that their life again can flow and work better, but then together as community so that we can
Yes.
what I said before, to create a better world. Okay, beautiful. So now if you could do all of that, and you could do it in a specific way that sounds the most fun or the most lights you up the most, just paint a little more specific of a picture. This is what it would look like. This is what I would want to do. I'd want to write this book or create this workshop or create this event, or just play in this energy now as you feel it moving towards this sense of, and maybe it is for people with special needs as a start, but just feel into that. What's the next iteration of that as you feel into what feels good?
So I have a good picture of it in in my mind, and
Great. Tell me
this
what the picture is.
so that everyone has room to close the door behind himself or herself, but there are rooms to meet together, to have meals together, but everyone could also cook for
So you're seeing a vision of like intentional community, and it could be
yes,
long term or it could be a retreat center or whatever, but you're seeing this kind of intentional gathering
it
where
could
people have their
be,
own silent solitude, but they also come together, support, connect, dialogue, workshop, whatever, make food, that kind of stuff.
and also it's not only as a retreat center, but it could be there, and it could provide also jobs, and so on. The most important thing is for me that the idea that everyone, even the most handicapped person, could be a guardian angel for another person.
Absolutely,
So
my dear. Okay, so here, I mean, I'd love to hear more, but I got to move on. But here's what I want you to understand right now, what just happened, Christine. I want you all to note this. Just a few minutes ago, you told me I have no idea or clarity of what I want. And just now, in just a few minutes, you have been able to acknowledge and articulate with passion. And I had to cut you off because there's so much in you, so much that you know, so much that you want, so much that wants you. So it's not a lack of clarity. Can you see that, Christine?
mhm,
Okay. Now, what happens is when you start to think about it and then actually do something about it, you hit a threshold. It feels
yeah,
too much or overwhelming or too big, or how do I start, or who am I, or whatever, right?
you
There's
must know I've gone through foreclosure a few months ago,
okay.
and
But let me just
so
stop you. What does that have anything to do with what we're talking about? I know you think it does. But what I'm
so
saying is you have a story that comes up. Well, I went through foreclosure, or I don't have the money, or I don't know, whatever it is. What
yeah,
I what I want you to see is it's not what you have been telling yourself, and this is true with all of you, and even with Ian, is it's scary to say yes to yourself. It's
yeah,
scary particularly when you've gone through a foreclosure or your mother died or this happens or you might get grabbed by ICE if you come back to the States, or yes, we all have reasons why we're not moving towards our yes and living into it, whether it's writing the book, starting this organization, going for the love of our life, whatever it is. We all of us have an obstacle or a block or a wall or a fear that seems very real and is real as far as matter and things are concerned. And then we stop. And then we distract. And then we go do something else that doesn't we tell ourselves, I don't have clarity. Let me read this book so I can get more clarity. And that's not the problem, right? Or, oh, it's not the right time for love. Let me go do this other thing and then it'll be the right. And so we lie to ourselves as a protection, because to actually tell the truth and acknowledge this is what I want, this is what I'm made for, this is the truth, I need to walk that way, will mean I have to face some of my deepest fears, my deepest shame or grief. I have to get stronger. I have to get bigger. I have to actually dig deeper. And instead of that, because we don't understand that and we don't know and haven't been supported in that, we go do this, go do that, go do that, and tell a story. And now we just circle back around and around and around. Okay. So are you guys getting this by show? Just raise your hand on the screen if you understand what I'm saying. Okay. So this is what I mean. It's not that something out there is stopping you, and it's not even that for most of you, you don't have enough clarity here to move. It's that to do that brings something up, a shadow, a values conflict. And you even had a little shadow laugh, Christine, there. I didn't point it out, which is that it kind of, it's like you're busted. It kind of, when I called you out, like you do know what you want, you're just afraid to go for it. And you have a lot of reasons why you think you can't or can't do it now. But it's not from a lack of clarity. Sorry about the video. So that's what I want you guys to understand. It's a broken circuit, and or you're not circulating the energy in the direction of the truth of you. You've subverted it, you've channeled it off into something else and told yourself a story of it's too late, it's too soon, I don't have time, I don't have money, I don't have clarity, and that's all a lie. And again, there's no judgment, but if you can feel what I'm saying and resonate with it and see that in just these few minutes, there's already greater clarity, and you will never be happy or fulfilled if you do not dedicate your life to this vision. Now, the vision might evolve and change, but that energy must start to flow where the vision of your heart wants to go. Can you see that, Christine?
Yeah.
And so that's what I want to help you do. And the Awaken Wealth is the start of that. And then, as I already shared with you guys, one of many of $10,000 worth of bonuses is you're going to get the entire Live Your Life's Work weekend, where I'm going to take you through a whole process of getting really clear on that vision and mission and purpose and how to launch it in the world. So if you want that, this is the place to be. Thank you so much, Christine, for sharing, my dear. Whatever you do, keep following that vision of your heart. I know it feels scary and you feel small and it's so big, but every person you admire in the world and in history, that's exactly where they were when they began to live their vision. And they might have been in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and even 80s, and even beyond when they started. So don't anybody say, well, I'm this old. It doesn't matter. And just in case you have short hair, look in a mirror and look at the back of your neck. And as long as it doesn't say use by, you're still good. So you're still good. Nothing's gone sour. All right, let's go to Dina. I'm going to try to move a little quicker here so I can get to my next appointment. You guys hopefully can tell how passionate I am about this stuff. So, all right, Dina.
There was a screen that came up and said unmute, and I clicked on it, and ta-da, it worked. That's
There you
kind of
go.
awesome. I wrote it down so that I could just rhyme it off. So and make it easier for me too. In the last 2 days of being introduced to you, meaning like Monday and today, um, I'm grateful to be here. I received an email and I've looked at a few of them and it's like, yeah, never mind. And somehow my people, who are very intelligent, encouraged me to actually go on the call on Monday. What I've learned so far is you're like a puppet master. Sorry, puzzle master.
I am a puppet
And
master. Woo!
yes, yep, yeah, that
Little
too.
bit.
Yep. But I think you are the missing piece that, or a way to put the puzzle pieces together. Um, I love how
I
you
like puppet master better, but it's
do
okay.
you. Okay,
I'm just
sorry.
kidding. I'm the puppet master that comes around and cuts all the strings.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's the puzzles, I guess, then, right? All the puzzle pieces fall into place. But I love how you talk, the language you use, the terms you use, I don't understand because, again, this is right, and that's fine. That's all very exciting. And how you explain things so very simply and easily. My question is, in your absolute amazing generosity, you have given so many bonuses. And I would love to know, um, will you suggest what programs we or I should add to benefit us to grow faster?
You mean in terms of if you come
And
into the program, what's the order to do?
all,
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
because I have fibro, so it would be I was diagnosed with fibro.
Mhm.
It would be very beneficial for me to go, okay, this is what we're doing today, this is what we're doing tomorrow, and on and on and on and on. And then in all the bonuses that you have given, you'll go, okay, so you need more help in this area, or this would benefit you, and this would benefit you. And I know Gideon was absolutely fat. He's lovely, by the way. I'm sure you already know that. And he had sent me an email for all the other calls and whatnot that I missed because, again, I just was introduced to it
I
to
mean,
you on Monday and
during
then
this
today.
journey, right? Right.
Yes, yes.
Yes, so
Um,
absolutely. So in fact, one of the first calls we'll be doing, I'll be laying out what I call the success plan and setting you up for very specifically step by step how to be successful in this program and what are the core principles of all successful projects or all successful endeavors. And that's going to be really important for a lot of you because there's a lot of things that we do and don't do, and we don't realize it, that set us up
yes,
for failure. And,
yes.
and so we get into a program like this or anything, or any project we might start, and we're missing several pieces of the success principle. And as a result, we don't even know that we've already set ourselves up to fail. And then we get halfway through
Mhm.
or whatever, and then it fails and we stop and with all the different reasons. And we never really understand fully why. And then whenever we're confused, we fill it in with our core story. And so it's because I'm not enough, or I'm it's their fault, or whatever. And then we eventually loop back around and we begin that process again. And so I'm going to set you up for success. And then, of course, along the way, as we go, the reason why you're going to have all this time with me live is as you're going along, and this is one of the success principles, if you have a question, if you're confused, if it doesn't make sense, if you don't know what to do next, guess what you do?
Ask.
Ask. Yes. Ask. What a revelation. Ask and you shall receive. And I know, that seems like a duh. It's part of a new
No.
religion I'm creating called the Duh De Ching. And
Is
where
that a new book?
the
That
mantra
book.
is duh. And so that's a new religion coming to you soon. And actually we're all living it. So yeah, so that's we have to ask. But if we're not asking, and I'll bring this up as we go along, there's a reason, and we want to understand what's behind that, because there's shadows and fears and reasons why we don't ask, as I've been talking about. So
Yeah.
yes, you'll get the success plan. I'll tell you what to do now, what to do next, and help you to understand that. And and support you in, and I don't feel you as a victim at all, but just know that even though you've been diagnosed with a particular condition,
Mhm.
you know, we've all got many undiagnosed conditions. We're all sick and crazy human beings in different ways. And the key is just to remember, not only am I going to still be all that I'm made to be and more than I can imagine, despite that condition, but
Yeah.
I'm going to be the unique and beautiful masterpiece even because of it. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
and undo the reason it happened in the first place.
Perhaps, or, you know, Stevie Wonder was blind. But a
True,
result of that is he didn't undo the reason for his blindness. That
true.
created a unique condition where he became a master of the music of the spheres. He could hear better than anybody the music because he didn't have the energy being used through the sight. And I'm not, again, condoning, but I'm just, you know, Stephen
Yeah.
Hawkins couldn't move a muscle.
Yeah.
He was one of the most prolific, productive, inventive scientists of this century of this last, maybe actually last century, 2 centuries, whatever, because I think he came from the last century. But the point is, yes, and perhaps it can lead to a healing, and it can lead to at least a releasing of the problem or the cause of it. But even more empowering is whether I understand it, don't understand it, heal the condition, or don't heal the condition. What if no matter what, I still release the full potential of my music, the full potential of my life? What if instead
Yeah.
of the constant searching after healing and fixing and improving, what if from the past or the present or protecting from the future, my mantra is no matter what I have or don't have, or what the condition is or ever will be, ain't nothing gonna stop me from being all that I was made to be and more than I can imagine and living the fullness of my destiny. That's freedom.
Yes.
And then if stuff heals along the way, cool. Maybe I'll grow a new limb. Who knows? New limbs of the mind and the soul, wings that nobody may see but me, but I'll be flying. And so that's the energetic I want to invite you and everybody into.
Okay.
Many people get healed of all kinds of stuff. And that's just a bonus. Because the real healing is the shift from the lie and the perspective that
Hmm.
any condition has to change for me to be free and for me to be fully me.
Very true.
That's the real healing.
Very true. Yes.
Because a lot of people, I'll say this one final thing, most humans will never heal some of their biggest challenges.
No.
So if that's the case, and that's been the case throughout all time, some things have gotten better, obviously, then there has to be a bigger order. Like my son is never going to come back to life in this world. Okay, how do I live an even a gorgeous, amazing, all of me life
In
anyway?
spite of that. Yeah.
In spite of it, but also even because of it.
Because of it. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like that's what I mean. And so yes, maybe other things will get healed and you know, who knows? But that's the real place we want to keep getting back to and then living out from. Cool?
Yeah. Because,
There you
right?
go. She's been listening. See the
Thank
wonderful wizard, the wizard
you.
of Oz,
Yes.
the wizard of ahas, the
Mhm.
wizard of ha-has. Lots of wizards here. Thank you, my dear. Let's take a breath for Dina. Let's go to, oops, let's go to Swan. Do I say, I always mess your name up. It's Swan, right?
Yes, it's so nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a
Sure, my
while.
dear. Good to see you.
Thank you so much for being you. And just to let everyone know, whenever you sign up for one of Derek's programs, he always over delivers. I'm actually behind on the last program that I signed up with him. So that's why I'm actually raised my hand because I wanted to see if he could help me with with my circuit. Like, what is it that's not connecting in regards to because I was actually doing well for a while and then I want to say I got distracted or maybe there's a part of me that I hit my threshold, I didn't want to move forward. And
Yeah.
it's so funny because I am working with Garrett, and even with Garrett, I haven't signed up with. I do have a meeting with him tomorrow, but so I do have support, but there's really this deep resistance. It's almost kind of like I don't want I don't want to move forward, and it's like I'm hiding stuff from myself. You know what I mean? Um,
So knowing all of that, you're already, doing good work. So now just get honest with yourself. So as you feel into it, just ask yourself, what am I afraid is going to happen if I have no more excuses and I just move forward and do the work every day that I know I need to do? Just let that drop in.
okay.
What am I afraid is going to happen if I have no more excuses and I just do the work I know I need to do every day and move forward? And what bubbles up when you say that, when you ask that?
Well, okay, so there's actually a really deep-rooted pain in my heart. It has to do with like acceptance, like what happens if people won't accept me for me? Um, and it was just okay, so I'm just gonna I know you actually I'm
So
not
just
gonna
stay with
say it.
that for a minute. Don't go to
Yeah.
the story. Just
Okay.
so is it what you're feeling is if I just do it, then I'm gonna have to share it, show it, put it out there, and then what if nobody accepts it? What if I get judged? What if it is crickets? Like, is that the fear that I'll be judged or that it won't be accepted, won't be received?
There's and then there's the piece about, being loved, and I know that
That you won't be loved?
yes, and I want to be loved.
Yeah. So feel into that because I can feel it very strong.
Yeah, it actually kind of hurts my heart to
Yeah, so
actually
just feel that energy in
okay.
your heart right now. Just be with that and with her.
Yeah. And it's actually connected to my
It's your
throat
voice,
chakra.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is also your will, which is about moving forward and expressing. And early on in your life, you felt judged or made fun of or not enough, and you had some experience of when you did share or show up in some way, you got a feeling that you were going to be judged or rejected or were rejected or judged or experienced that in some way in it. Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah. And so as you're feeling that, part of you shrunk, and that's that little girl that is in your heart right now, and the pain and the just I just want to be known and seen and loved for who I am. And then part of her shrunk to try to fit in and be loved by her family or whatever. And but then another part of you was like, I want to be who I am and be loved. And that's part of why you're driven to do what you do, is to create a platform and a space and to express who you are and to help others be who they are and be seen for what is authentically you and be loved. And so what's happening is as you start to move towards expressing that, which is the truth, this is really the theme of every person so far, is you hit the threshold of all the reasons why you can't, you shouldn't, it's not safe. You've that pain in you because you're going to get rejected or judged or not loved, and you're going to get confirmed in the bigger way. See, I knew I wasn't worth it, or I wasn't good enough, or I wasn't lovable, and you don't want to confirm that, but that's not the reality. That's just the story. That's just the experience. You're already feeling that heartbreak and that pain. It's not that you're afraid you're going to, it's that if you had another experience, it's going to make you feel the pain that you've been feeling your whole life, but you found ways to not feel it. So as you're feeling it right now, again, my invitation, as I was saying all the way back to who is it again? I'm drawing a blank now. To be with that pain, be with that heartbreak. Let the one voice that needs you more than ever is her. She needs you to hear her. She needs you to hold her. She needs you to not distract yourself from her. You don't have to fix her. She just needs to be heard and held and seen and loved and understood. And then she'll be okay. Just breathe again into that. And then, and we don't have the time for it right now, but I want you to do this, is stay with yourself for just another moment, is let yourself know, let that part of you have a voice and let her speak. And I want you to write down everything she's saying and the story she's telling. And your work is to really, again, just let that be known. It's not the truth, but it is the experience of her. So we never want to deny a person's experience or part of ourselves. But now your role as the adult who's holding her now is you have a bigger perspective on reality, and you get to tell a bigger story. And you now have to now go, what's the bigger story? What's the truer story? And now let me live life based on that story, not based on her story. Because what's happening when you hit that threshold is now you start living based on her story. And that's a constriction and a stopping of putting your neck out there because it's going to get hurt. But from the bigger story, you can hold her. I know you're scared, honey. I know it hurts. I got you. But here's what's true and what's possible. And it might be hard and scary at times. Some people might judge us and we might fall on our face, but I got you. I love you. You're awesome. This is awesome. We know this is right, right? Yeah, let's do it. But, and it'll be okay. And we're never going to give up on ourselves. I'm never going to give up on you. You get to feel scared. You get to feel all your feelings. I got you. But we're going to do this because this is what we want. And as you can hold that and live from the larger story, you're going to now instantiate and embody this mature perspective and strength, and be able to keep going and growing while you cross that threshold. And as you cross it enough, it will now become a new, that story will become more real than her story. You understand? And guess who else is going to need this wisdom from you? All the people that you're meant to help. This is the help, the workshop you've been living and that you will be living as you cross this threshold is the workshop you're meant to be giving. This is the wisdom, this embodied wisdom where you can really hold people in that place where they hit when they try to be themselves more and put themselves out there. You follow what I'm saying?
So funny. I do inner child workshops.
Of course you do.
Yeah, I'm sure you're not surprised. And you're right. Like the stuff, the workshop you're going to be giving is the life you've been, wait, I'm doing it
The
backwards.
workshop you've been living is the one you're meant to be giving.
Yeah, yeah.
And now you've got the capstone of your workshop, which is you've got all these parts, but holding her. She's the one there's most shame and grief and pain around. She's the bottleneck to your launching to the next level. Because when you hit her, as I said, you stop living from the larger vision and you start living from her sense of protection and fear. And you don't know that's what's happening. You just notice you're not doing and finishing and following through. And you're like, why? This is why. Because she takes over. Because she is based on the core wound. And the core wound is when you had to believe a lie about yourself in order to survive. You had to believe a lie about life or yourself to survive. And now you have an opportunity to flip that and tell the truth about yourself. That doesn't mean it won't be hard still, because you have to prove it, you have to embody it. It's just a place in your journey where the story stopped, it got stuck there. And now, as you hold her and keep going and tell the bigger story, I am loved and valued. In fact, not only am I not in danger by being myself, the most dangerous place is in not being myself. the place of most love, most recognition, most reward is in being who I really am and giving my unique gifts to the world. And so I'm committed to it no matter what. And I'm going to hold you, and we're going to go. And again, we'll stumble, we'll fall, we'll make mistakes, no problem, because the principle is to thine own self be true. And that's what you're mastering now. And now you know what's going to come up, but it's not going to come up unconsciously. Now you're going to know what's coming up, and I got you. Let's go. And that's what you're developing now. And that's what you're going to help people do as you help them identify that most critical bottleneck to them launching and to them fully growing up. And so they can hold all their inner children, especially that one, and keep going instead of sabotaging. All right, my dear, I got to move on, but you know now,
Thank you.
watch this again if you need to. All right.
I will. Mm-hmm.
Much love to you. You're doing good work. Let's take a breath for her. Good work, everybody. Let's go to Iris. Hello. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Oh, hi.
Hi there.
Hi. Thank you very much for everything. Just listening has been really, really wonderful. So, yes, I'm definitely going to sign up. I would like to know, you said there is things we can pick and choose for ourselves. We don't have to do it all.
Right.
How do we really know what we need? I mean,
Well, and that's what another person asked. So I'll explain all of that on the first call for sure, and I'll continue to guide you. The main framework, of course, is the Awaken Wealth Mastery Program. It's a multi-module program that goes step by step through the process, and then I'll be, highlighting certain key things and coaching you through that on the live call. So that's the main foundational piece. And then it's all these things we're talking about, but really practicing it, creating the goal, creating the vision, creating the map, your whole blueprint and everything. So that's the foundation. And then all the other pieces are supportive, like the prosperity playground every day. You don't have to do it every day, but it's there for you if you want that extra jolt and activation every day. And it's like, taking a bath in glitter every morning. And if you want to do that, but you don't have to. And then, when you get on the calls, there'll be some teaching and then a lot of coaching like this. And sometimes the calls will go longer than you need to stay on. If you get what you need, you can get off, right? And so what I'm saying is with any program, with all of my programs, what I want people to be focused on is what's the goal or the outcome that I want. And I'm going to help you get clearer on that. But so that you know where you're going and what you're trying to achieve, so that it's not about I have to check a box and go through every module. It's fine if you do, but so that you can go and get what you need to move forward, to take the next step, to take the next step, to take the next step. That's the best use of this. But again, the foundational program is the Awaken Wealth work. And then the other stuff like Emergence, go ahead.
So that sounds all really interesting because I have lots of things I already know. I know what my goal is. I know what I'm going after.
Great.
But I would be really interested in where my blocks are, where I get stopped.
Well, you just saw me working here and helping people get right up
Yes.
against their block. So that's the kind of coaching you want to show up for and ask for and be like, okay, here's my goal, but I'm getting like you just saw me just now do and discover and bring to the surface and start to heal and alchemize that. Then let me make sure I take advantage of that opportunity, right? As much as I
And
can.
which part is that? Which part is that in?
Well, again, you're going to learn about a lot of that through the program. But if you show up for the coaching and let me coach you specifically, you're going to get even more of that. So that would then mean for you and all of you, prioritize that time in your life. do whatever you can to clear your schedule so you can, if that's the piece, for some of you, it's not as much the piece. It might be the clear training and the step-by-step processes. But for some of you, it might be that. And so I'm going to show up. I'm going to cancel this stuff. I'll get my hair done another day, whatever. I'm going to make arrangements for somebody, but I'm going to show up. And believe me, people show up from all over the world when that's their priority. And they might be up at 3 in the morning to do it. But that's what it takes, right? Just like there's been many, many, many times I've had to be up at 3 or stay up until 5 to get my work done. You know, if you're a parent, you got to be up with your children all night long. So once we know what's our priority, then we will design our life around that. And I'll talk a lot more about that on the success planning call for how to be successful in this program. And I'll hear from you and from everybody, what is it you're going for in order to identify what's the most important way to organize things. Does that make sense?
So being in the UK, I shall be on in the middle of the night a lot then, is that right?
Not necessarily. It'll be about, what is it? It'll be like 8 o'clock at night or something. Is it 8 hours ahead now or 9?
Yes, 8, yeah.
8, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, at some point in the program, I might be in the UK. We'll see, and then it'll be interesting.
Oh, right.
So I'll be doing it with you because I have a movie that's in pre-production. It's supposed to start shooting sometime in July. So I might be in the UK on location while I'm teaching this. We'll see. Then we'll get together and we'll have tea and biscuits. But
Yeah.
for all of you people in the UK, but so yeah, so you might be starting at around 8 o'clock at night, and you might go at the latest till 11. Right. Again, for some people
Oh,
that's late, but
yeah.
the key is there's people in the UK, there's people in Australia, which is the other side of the coin, and
Yes.
they'll be getting up at 5 in the morning, and then there's people all around the world that are part of this. And so
Yeah.
we kind of found over the years what's the time we can do that doesn't get too early or too late, and it's kind of in the middle, and it's certainly going to be a little more easiest, let's just say, but not even just going to say for the United States, but that's not always true because people that work, it's like right in the middle of their workday, and so they're going to have that as a problem. People in the UK, it's too late, or in Australia, it's too early. So there's no really perfect time. It's just a matter of are you going to prioritize this period of time to get something that's going to change your life and last a lifetime? That's really the key.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem, really, because I'm working 7 days a week just to try and get my dream into where it should be. And that was my one thing. Shall I even do this? Because I've already got so much on. But I hear what you say. I might be able to save myself a lot of time
Exactly.
doing the right thing, and
Exactly.
rather than being distracted with things which
Exactly.
aren't necessarily what I should be. And I think that's half the battle for me,
Oh, it's half the
because
battle for everybody.
building a business is to me, there's a lot of cool things where I know what I'm doing and what I'm building the business around. I know what I'm doing, but building the company is a different kettle of fish, and it's drowning me at times.
Totally.
So it would be really good to have some kind of guidance or kind of finding some sort of balance where I should be focusing my efforts in a way. That's what I'm hoping to get out of it, really.
Exactly. And also to understand, while, I'm not going to be literally dialing in exactly how do you build a business and scale it, to 6 figures, 7 figures, all of that specific stuff in this particular course. I get more on that in another course, but I will be cueing in on if this is your goal, then we can see where, like you said, you're doing too many things. And then
Yes.
whenever we're doing too many things, or when we say we don't have the time, as I say, nature never needs a day planner, right? Because nature can never go against its nature. And nature never goes, I'd really love to be growing right now, but I don't have the time. And so That's our problem because we are doing a lot of things that are not our true nature. We are fragmented. And so when I can help people understand, why are you doing that? Where is that coming from?
Yes.
What are you afraid is going to happen if you started pruning the tree? If you started letting go? And then soon, sure enough, you'll feel, no, I can't, but that thing works and I need that money or I need that. Okay, now let's look at what the story is under that. And now we'll see the fruit of that poison tree. We'll see where the roots of that, what's the lie that we're telling ourselves. And as we unpack
That's
that,
exactly what I need.
yeah,
Yeah, that's exactly what I need. That
that's what
kind
we'll
of
be doing.
guidance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got it.
Fantastic. All
Awesome.
right then.
Look forward to it.
Thanks.
And yeah, and hopefully I will be in the UK and I'll be able to connect with all you people out there in the UK. I might be being there and then also a little bit of some parts of Europe. Let's go to Bev. You don't have your camera on, Bev, so go ahead and turn it on or. Hold on.
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Give me 1 sec. Yeah. I turned my camera off on accident. Okay, there we go.
Okay. I was over there getting ready. I was working on signing up. So I do have a question about that, if
Okay,
I can ask you that.
sure.
There's a box to check saying that I understand all the conditions of the program and all of that, but I don't see any place to read that information.
Oh, there should be a link right underneath that box. Getting in, you can tell people where it is or tell maybe just private message Bev. It's either there or somewhere down. And all it basically.
I just emailed support, so
Okay.
maybe they can.
Yeah, they'll get that to you. I mean, it's
Okay.
just basic stuff. You know, you can go in, you can get all the way, look at all the stuff, look at the first class, get on the class, get my coaching, get my support. And then within something like 48 hours, even all the way after the first class, if you decide all the way to then you don't want to do it, you can still get a refund.
Yeah,
And
I've
that's
heard you
basically
say that part.
it.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
I know
It's
most people just click boxes and I tend to
No,
read
no, I think
things.
that's great. I encourage everybody, read, is if you know, is unless you don't care what the consequences are, it's like refund, no refund, I don't really care. Obviously, you should read everything because you never know what's in those, especially when you're signing up on apps and social media.
Right.
You don't know what
Right.
you're giving away. I can tell
Right.
you right here, you're not giving away anything here. I don't know in your data. I don't know in
Right.
your IP. I don't own anything of yours. It's more just to get people clear. This is the policy. This is
Okay.
how refund works. That kind of stuff.
Okay. Well, can I ask you then for some coaching?
Sure, just briefly because I'm
Yeah.
literally
I'm
13
very similar
right
to
now.
one of the people that was already on in that I've done a lot and I've had successes. And right now, in the last few years, I retired I don't know, 10 years ago. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I bought an RV, traveled the US, and then I decided to move to Costa Rica. And I live in Costa Rica now. And since I've been here, I've written a book, but I haven't been able to get it published. I wanted to start retreats and I got stopped. And so, and I know a lot of
When you
about it's
say
coming
I
from.
got stopped, did somebody come in and grab your hands and pull them away from the keyboard, or what do you mean you got stopped?
No, I got stopped by the money because I didn't
So
have the money to
I stopped
stop
myself.
myself.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
And
that's not a little change, just so we all know. That's not just semantics. And I'm listening, so you can see. I got stopped is whenever we have language like that, it's not accidental. And if we hear ourselves go, "Oh no, I didn't mean that. I meant." No, you didn't. You meant what you said. And that's not a judgment. It's for us to go, "Oh, interesting." So the way I saw it and the way I hold sometimes is I'm not in control or power. Something else is. And that begins a very important inquiry, right?
right, and that's exactly where I am right now,
Yeah,
is that I'm not remembering that I'm source.
right. And even, yeah,
And
you could just say, then I got stopped by what? I didn't have the money. And then I can go, that's an interesting one. So I'm believing without the money, I cannot give my gifts or live my purpose. Let's just check that and see if it's true. Can I do retreats without money? The answer is yes, absolutely. And there's a lot of ways to do it. You can do them virtually. and it's just your time and a Zoom. Or you can find people that will volunteer or donate spaces. I'm not going to give you all the ideas. I just want to show as an example that isn't a true statement. And so there's lots of ways. You could sell some of the retreats and then use the money to go pay for the space. I've done that. Um, I've even, people are like, well, I can't sell my program because I don't have a program. That's not a true statement. I've sold programs before I even created them, and then I got to work creating them. All of this to say, we want to slow down and really check our thinking, because inherent in that, as that gets explicit, we see, oh, I think that something outside of me is in control, or I think my mind is controlling me, or I think it's about money that's stopping me. And then you want to have support in busting all of those lies. And then you want to look at, well, how can what's the bigger truth? The truth is I just stopped because I'm afraid, or this, that, or the other. And then if I really didn't need any of these things, I really could create it. What would I do? How would I start to think and feel and act? And then you start to do that. And at first, it's like opening up the spigot, and it might just be little drips. I can take this little step and this little step. But pretty soon that becomes a flow. And then now you're moving. And then things, as I've been saying, as you take all the steps you can take from this place of having, from this place of agency, the channel and the flow opens wider, and inspiration and guidance and things you didn't think about. Suddenly you're driving and you see this place you never even noticed, and you stop there and you meet a person, you're like, well, how did I not do that before? Because you weren't in the flow. You weren't whole. All these things. It's like the famous couplet by Goethe. When we wait, we hold back, we delay, but when one
Right.
commits to their dream, all
Yeah.
manner of seen and unseen things move, providence moves. Where was all that stuff before?
And I've had that experience.
Of course.
I'm blocked on it. I'm whatever. But I also
You were
noticed that when
blocked.
you were
You were
saying
blocked up to this moment.
right. And I also noticed that when you were saying certain things, I saw other shadows show up. Like,
Great. So
I don't
take,
like, I don't want to do that.
yeah,
It's
there
like
you
I don't
go.
want to sell it before I have
Yeah,
it made.
yeah, yeah.
And I mean, I've designed many, many trainings. I could probably design it in one day.
That's what I'm talking about. So what I want to invite you to do, I know you're going to sign up, but take a moment when I move to the next, and just take a moment, be with this now, write it down. I don't want to do that. And then see what am I afraid that would mean about me, or that I would be judged as, or and then notice what that is. It's like, ugh, it feels yucky. Or maybe it's something else. Maybe it's not fair. I shouldn't have to, and just excavate that a little bit, because that's going to be the juicy content. You might already move through some of that even before you join. As I said, a lot of people, the minute they say yes and they join, you're part of an attractor pattern, you're part of a field
Right.
now, and you're going to already start to see things move. Some of you, all kinds of stuff's going to start moving and shaking before we even get to our first call, because
Yeah.
the field is established. But don't just step over it and go, I'll get to it later. Be a good steward of what's bubbling up in you right now, and then
Okay.
write it down. You don't have to do anything or work hard on it. Just stay conscious of it and bring that to the class, so that I can support you on whatever clarity you don't have, because you're probably going to get a lot of clarity just by
I
doing
have I have one limiting belief that I've been working on for a long time, and it's that it happens for everybody else, but not me.
it. Yes. How many, by show of hands, who has that one? You'll see a few hands
And
go up. It's not a lot. Yeah.
yeah, and it's not like I'm not worthy or anything like that. It's just a fact. It just happens for everybody else and not me.
Right.
Is
Now,
how
if you
I have it.
scratch the surface, it does have something to do with worth and value. If you look, there's a very young girl there. And also, again, I listen very closely. If we have to say it's not about worth or anything, but then you
Then it
want to go,
probably is.
interesting, I felt the need to say that. Thou doth protest it too much, right?
Mhm.
So this is where when you slow down and listen, doesn't mean we hook on to everything, but yeah, when we just say, oh no, it's just, some people just don't think they're wired for it. Okay. And that might be it. And that could be true, a fact, a lot, a fact that you believe that. But again, usually it's because we're born on this side of the track, or because our kind of people, it doesn't. Well, what are those kind of people? Well, people that aren't very smart, or, women, or, people of this culture or color, and you start to keep going, scratching the surface, it does get down to less than, something less than. And
Well,
that's
I know an incident that happened when I was 9 that started that conversation. So
and we'll talk more about that. But for you
yeah,
right now, I think I can feel you're very coachable, and you're very fertile, and you're very ready for this breakthrough. So just
yes,
take a few minutes and just cultivate this. Just journal about this. You don't need to hear anything else I say on this call now. You've got what you need. Journal about this and excavate as much as you can right now. Um,
okay,
and then we'll work through this in the program. Okay.
okay. Thank you so much.
You're
I'm
so
so
welcome. Yeah, you're
excited I
welcome.
got picked.
Yeah, I'm excited for you, my dear. All right. Let's go to Mrs. iPhone. There's no name there. And then I think I'm going to have to stop right
Yes.
now.
Hi.
So this is going
Yeah.
to be my last one, guys. I already
My
have.
name. My name. Hello. Hello.
Go ahead, my dear. I can't. You're kind of breaking up there. Go ahead.
Can you hear? Okay.
Maybe turn your. Let's
Yeah.
turn.
Now.
Let's
Can you
turn
hear me
our
now?
video. Turn your video off so there's no latency. See if it helps. I'll turn mine off too.
Okay.
There now.
Okay.
Go ahead. Give me your name real quick.
Yeah. Maybe that will work. Okay. Great. That was a good idea. Okay. I'm sorry. Oh, my
Just
name. Okay. Katerina. Katerina.
Katerina. Okay. There's a bit of a latency, Katerina, so that's why we're kind of overlapping. But go ahead.
Yeah. That happened in the last 5 minutes. So okay. First of all, I want to say, just like the other participants, thank you for just being there. I resonate a lot with everything you're saying, and I'm just glad I read the email that led me to you. So that was the first thing I wanted to say.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So my question is this: I was, I can say, very successful in my profession for pretty much my whole life until about 4.5 years ago. I'm German. I'm calling from Germany now, but I lived and worked in the U.S. in California, and I lost my job and then wasn't let back in. I had to leave the country, wasn't let back in because of COVID, and got what I thought was a depression, and I still think it was a depression, and went through a spiritual awakening. Did not have anything to do with spirituality before, zero. Didn't even know what a spiritual awakening is or anything about it. So now I worked in science my whole life in a healing profession. Now I'm going completely the other way, took a class on mediumship, took a class on spiritual healing, I'm really enjoying all of that. But I feel, and I keep going in that direction, but I feel that I'm moving so slowly compared with what I did before. I'm more inefficient, just very slow. So my question is this: do you see any major blockages, or do I just have to keep going and be patient?
Yeah, well, I do. I mean, I don't call them major blockages, but I do feel in your field, there's still a lot of emotional. Let me see if I can feel there is a kind of a resistance or a straining to some emotional stuff that you haven't fully processed. And I don't know, again, the COVID was a spiritual opening for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And activated a lot of people. That's part of the opportunity of a crisis. It becomes a catalyst, especially
Mm-hmm.
when we're forced at home or we're stuck in these different environments and suddenly we have to adjust and adapt. So it becomes a powerful experience for people. And then depression Sometimes it's a depression that's caused by the conditions where where depression is the lack of full expression, and so there's repressed stuff. And other times, and for a lot of people, a crisis like COVID, it brought to the surface. Hold on one second. It brought to the surface a lot of stuff that had not been examined, right?
Okay.
And so, you went one direction in the healing path before, and some of that was based on your best guess, but there was also a level at which you chose that path early on. There was some kind of thing that you rejected about yourself or didn't fully trust in life and had to go a path where you felt like you had more control. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so what happened with COVID is you kind of lost control. And
Uh,
and the result was it cracked open, and now all that stuff that had been held back was coming up. And now in this new version, the ability to just go without, the way you could go before, it's now that you're aware and you're more sensitive, there's more connection to fear or doubt or, not exactly knowing the right way to go. And so that does slow things down a lot. Do you understand what I'm saying?
yes, yes,
But
absolutely.
but there's a new level of speed that wants to be developed, and that's this emotion, this the stuff I feel in the feel. I don't know if it's fear. I mean, it's all fear ultimately, but there's resistance. Like, can I really trust? Can I really trust? Can I really trust? That's what I keep
Mhm,
fearing and hearing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
So,
okay.
so if you were to ask yourself, what is it I'm really afraid to trust fully? What comes up?
Well, maybe that I'm going to lose my job again or
Mm.
something like that, that something bad will happen if I jump into it again.
Yes. So that's what you want to explore, because what I feel is that there is energy that was unleashed, and there is something that's emerging that wants you, and that you want a direction you want to go, and you have the emergency brake on, or you're kind of riding the brakes, like when you're driving down
Mhm,
a mountain.
Yeah,
And I just hear, I don't know if I can trust it. I don't know if I can trust it. I just feel that energy in your field.
okay.
And so you want to look at, if I fully trusted, if I fully trusted myself in life, and I just honored myself and what I really, really want and what the real yes was, and I moved in that direction without the brakes on, what am I afraid? First of all, who would I be and what would
hmm
I do? What bubbles up when you ask that?
Okay.
What is there anything that just comes
Uh,
to mind when you just,
Probably right now, I would say go back to my job and connect scientific approach with spiritual approach in healing.
okay, great. So now feel the energy of that. And does that feel like juicy and exciting to be able to bridge science and spirituality and healing?
Um,
Does that feel
yes,
exciting?
but yes, it does. But there's also a part of it that makes me afraid of working 80 hours, 70, 80 hours a week again.
Okay, great. So now we bump into the values conflict. And so the fear is, if I really say yes to what I really want, my success and my authentic expression, I'm going to sacrifice my well-being, my time, my space, etc. Do you see that?
Yeah, it doesn't feel so much like sacrifice. It just feels like being possibly getting burned out again.
Right. So what are you sacrificing if you get burned out? What is a value you have that you would lose if you're burned out? What do you value that you would not have much or any of if you're burned out? You're the healer. This is a pretty important piece around healing. You still with me? Did I lose you? Did you just burn out the circuits of your line of your thing? Okay. So maybe you can, if you can't hear me now, I'm going to put my camera on. Oh yeah, you must have got, see, we burned out the circuits. So for all of you and for you, when you get back on, my dear, you can hear this in the replay. So you value not burned out, but what's the positive value? It's well-being, it's health, it's peace, it's whatever is the quality, the aliveness, whatever. And so going for what you want equals really, really, really hard work, too much work, and you have to sacrifice well-being, aliveness, peace, etc., or even health. So that's a values conflict. It's not true. Those values are not mutually opposed. Success, doing what I really want and what I'm really made for, is not in opposition to health and well-being and peace and fulfillment. But in your life, as I already said, if you listen back, early on, you got a message that made you have to repress parts of you, your authentic parts, to go for a life that felt safer or more in control. Now, it still had some directional accuracy, but it was only part of you. And through COVID, you broke down and lost control, and the more of you came up, this bigger version of you that isn't just in this narrow confines of what science or medicine is. But now you're bumping back into those same values conflicts. You're bumping into and you're wanting to have control to make sure you don't lose yourself again. And that's part of the values conflict. And so that's causing you to ride with the brakes on, and that's causing everything to go slower because you don't trust that if I really am authentic, if I'm true to myself, and if I go for what I want, you don't trust, maybe on one hand, even that you can, that you won't be judged, that you'll lose reputation or you lose your work, and also that you'll lose your way again, that you'll lose your health or your well-being. So for all those reasons, you've got the brakes on. You're kind of stop, start, haltingly, and that's why it feels slower. So we have to, if you're in the program, we'll look at this because this is very universal. What are the values conflicts? What am I afraid is going to happen if I go for this? What am I afraid I'm going to lose or have to sacrifice? And then we have to wire those values back together so that they are in service and support of each other rather than at odds. And there might even be some shadows in there. I'll be judged, I'll be seen as irresponsible or foolish or something. If I'm going to lose my job, which is again a values conflict, I can be authentic, but then I'll be out of work, right? Which is not true, but it's how you're wired. And so again, remember, you don't experience life as it is, you experience your belief about it. And so if you're wired to believe these things are mutually exclusive, every time you go for it, you're going to experience the fear of loss or the actual loss. So we have to rewire that. Okay. I hope
Okay.
oh, you're back on again? Okay.
Yes, I'm back. I was back on for like 2
Great.
minutes.
Great.
I missed maybe a minute or two.
Okay, well, you can listen to the replay, but hopefully you got a
Yes.
little bit there of why it's going to be so important. It's about rewiring, because again, if we have values conflicts, we're going to stop and start. We're going to have our foot on the gas and our foot on the brakes. And that's actually what burns us out.
Yes.
Right? Or it slows us way down and then we get frustrated, impatient. So that's the values conflict. And we'll go through that much more specifically in the program. All right, my dear?
Thank you very much. Thank you very.
You're welcome. It's great to talk to you, my dear. And I'm sorry I can't get to all of you. I know we talked, Robert, briefly. Karen, my dear, always good to see your beautiful face. I'm sure I'll see you in another class, but I'm already half an hour late for an appointment. I've been texting them, letting them know. I just wanted to make sure I answered a few people that I hadn't got a chance to talk to. And Kiri, I'm so sorry I didn't get a chance to talk to you. But I know what I do know for sure is that you can all find yourself somewhere in these conversations. And I've, really told you everything I can tell you at this point, other than just doing the work, which we're going to be doing together for the next two or more months. So if you're resonating with this, if you're still listening, you know your answer. You want this, you resonate with this, have the courage for your own sake to say yes to your yes. And find a way to get in, and don't let anything get in your way of getting in and getting what you need to finally take your life, your work, your abundance to the next level. That's what's available for you. You're not special, specially broken, or specially damaged. I've helped thousands of people do it. You've watched me literally in just a few minutes have some major shifts for people. Imagine what could be possible in a few months, or a couple months at least. All right. So go ahead, and you got the link in there. If not, I'll put it one more time. Grab it, cut and paste it, open it up, check it out, fill it out. Even if you got to leave it on your screen as a screensaver. And if you are struggling to figure out a way in, make a list of 25 ways you can figure it out and make your, find your way in. If nothing else, if you commit to that, you'll have a breakthrough. You'll discover you're capable of so much more. And in any case, just know how honored I am and grateful to be with you and to be sharing this journey with you. And I just love and appreciate you all. And until next time, remember to live authentically, keep doing it, love unconditionally, especially all the parts of you that need you and are crying out, and follow your destiny. It's calling. Don't let it go to voicemail anymore. All right. I'll talk to y'all soon. Take care.